Thing even starts.
Exactly.
Good
Yeah.
evening, everybody. Welcome to the Fox Den with
Hi
Gina B,
guys.
Mama D,
Monday.
and we were having such a nice conversation that we forgot we had to go live.
I just want to let people know because I was asked today, did you cut your hair again? Yo, it's all back here.
Oh,
Okay?
look at that! How
It's
cute!
nice and
Hair
cute and
keeps
adorable.
growing, and I
Yeah,
keep cutting and cutting.
yeah, she just cut it.
I
Okay.
cut again.
Just for everybody who's watching, our guest tonight, you ain't gonna like him. He just not a nice man whatsoever. I got him twinkling away back there in the car. I could just leave him in the green room. Every time Gina pops him
Oh,
up, I'll just pop back down because I'm like that today.
but we've been having fun. It's been a long time since we've had Paul back on, and
Yeah.
and we've been looking forward to this. And every time we pop in on one of his lives, he says, "How come you haven't been
Because
on the show?"
we're in the god awful
Yeah,
country of
but
North America, and you're in, La
yeah,
La Land by the time we come on air.
where he is, yeah, it's like midnight now. So he had to take his little nap, before the show, so he'll be okay.
Oh, the
Let
kapar.
me let me play the video for him and get him on here. This week in the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, we welcome Irish-born international psychic medium Paul Francis. He is the nephew to the Bishop of Armagh, Dr. James Lennon. He is not only a college and business school graduate, but he is also a trained chef and a baker. He holds degrees in investment planning and construction, and with over 35 years of being a professional performer on stage, TV, radio, and movies, he was also creating the Paul Francis Network. Initially, his main career was that of the bill payer, but he always knew that wasn't going to be his full calling. After appearing on TV with U2, his whole energy and choices suddenly changed, and he was focused fully on his spiritual path. Today, he has a radio show with up to 5 million listeners, and currently he is in talks with Netflix regarding a series and a tour in the USA. We welcome Paul and everyone to the Fox Den. Welcome back, Paul.
Just a quick question, Paul. Why did you omit the fact that Gina says you're an, you had stage and screen? Pole dancing is not stage. I love it.
Do you know, I was so caught up in that video that I was like, did I do all
Uh
that?
huh.
I know, when you see it all in one lump little thing.
Exactly. When you read it on a paper or you've lived it, it's like it's gone.
What?
But when you see it
No,
in a video,
like,
and especially somebody else doing it, because when you do it yourself, you're kind of like,
my favorite bit of that whole video was when you said Armagh. I was like,
Um, Amag. I don't know how to say
Armagh.
of a
Armagh.
man.
uh,
Armagh.
R. Say R.
R.
Ma.
Ma.
Armagh.
It's ARMAND.
A
No,
R.
it's a
Well,
GH.
pronunciation would be ARMAH. Armagh.
All right. Well, see,
But
now I should have
it's
said it with my Boston
ARMAGH.
accent. If I said it with my Boston accent,
Armagh.
like
I
when I
went,
park
where the
my
hell's
car,
Armagh?
yeah, when I park my car, that's all you have to say. Say it like you're an asshole. I would have
I
been fine.
I loved it. Do you know what I loved about it as well? Of course, it's the musician in me. I was loving the music. Ding, 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 ding. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
well cool. I'm enjoying that. Um, no, that was really cool. Thank you so very much. What an intro.
Yeah.
That was
Gina
so cool.
busts her butt to do that for all of our
Well, I
guests.
have to do that one quickly. I probably could have done
Well,
some
heck,
better
I can't
pictures.
imagine what. Well, if that was quickly,
Yeah.
I'm going to look forward to
Okay,
the
wait a
next
minute.
time.
Hold on, Paul. Quick. How many hours? Quick.
A day, but
All right. See that a day. That's
A
quick.
day, a day. I mean, can you
Yeah.
imagine what it's going to look like if she spends a week on
Do you
it?
know how many times she'll send me something? Like, oh, look, how does this look? And then I will not get a chance to say it. And she goes, oh shit, this is out of sync. Oh,
yeah, I don't like that thing, it's like
I'll tell you what I'm going to
I was
do. I'm going to bring
asking
you
you.
on my production
I
team
call
when
it.
we get to the States. That's what we're going to do. We're going
there
to
you
bring
go.
you on the production team.
Uh,
Um, wow. Yeah. I don't know about being star of TV and stage and all that malarkey, but I had a great career. I had a really good career. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, you really, really have. Now, I want to know about the U2 experience, and that if people haven't heard it yet, I want to know, how did you meet U2? What did you do with U2? And how was it that is the thing that changed your whole.
Well, okay, it's a very very long story as how I met you two. It was purely, um, what's the right words here? It was purely coincidental. Okay, it was. I mean, seriously coincidental. I was at that time. I was really focused on my music career. My music career was going really, really well, and I was doing lots and lots of stories, lots of shows, the big theater shows, and
Big
I had been asked to come and do. Do you guys know a big star called Gary Newman?
Gary
Mm.
Newman? How did
Yeah,
you know Gary Newman?
you know Gary Newman, right? You guys know Gary Newman? Your
It,
cars
it,
here in my car, and all that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so
How did you know Gary Newman?
well, I was asked to come and do a big tribute show to him. Okay, to tribute for Gary Newman,
Okay.
and because I was a big Gary Newman fan since 1979. I said, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, sure. In fact, you can actually see it. It's on YouTube. So so I'd actually said, right, yeah, I'll do it, and I went up, but there was this. I mean, it was a huge venue, huge. I mean, the big screen backdrop was 50 foot high, and it was huge. So, but me being me, I have zero patience. I mean, I literally was born with no patient bone at all. And during the setup, during all the sound checks and the lighting checks and the camera checks and all that kind of stuff, I started messing about, and I started singing Gary Newman songs in the style of Bono from U2.
Okay.
And they were all going, "What are you doing?" Just were we just checking the mics, aren't we? So I was singing away. Anyway, off it went. We were having a giggle, but I wasn't. I thought the guys were just setting the cameras up. I didn't realize they were actually filming. So we didn't. I didn't know they were filming. So about 3 or 4 weeks later, a phone call comes from one of the guys who was played keyboards in the band, Ian. He said to me, "Do you still do that Bono stuff?" And I said, "Well, yeah." What do you want? And he said, "This guy's going to ring you tomorrow." Bruce, in fact, he said, "Will ring you tomorrow." So sure enough, this phone call came, and he said, "Can you sing? Do you know the song, U2 song, Pride in the Name of Love?" I said, "Yeah."
Oh, I'm losing your voice. Well, your sound is cutting out.
Mine's coming out. Is it back now?
A little bit, not quite yet.
So you basically, I basically went to a recording studio.
What is going on?
So I don't know why, because
Oh, there we go. Okay. We lost your voice.
Oh, okay, it's back again. Is everybody getting that, or is it just that lady Sharon? By the way, hi to everybody in the chat room. So I sang it. I recorded it in the studio, sent it up to him. The guy couldn't believe it was me. He said he thought it was Bono, and I said, no. I won't exchange the conversation because it's got other words that I can't use over a microphone in it. And so he said, right. He said, "I'm not testing you, but can you sing Pride in the Name of Ross?" And I said, "Sure." And I went into the studio, laid down the track, sent it up to him. He said, "This is amazing." I said, "Okay." He said, "What are you doing on Thursday?" This was on Monday. And he said, "What are you doing Thursday?" I said, "Nothing really." He said, "Can you get up to London?" And I said, "Sure." He said, "You're going to be on the Jonathan Ross show with U2."
Oh,
All because I was messing around on stage. So
see, it pays to play.
yeah. And
You're muted, Mama. Mama, unmute yourself.
Oh, you got guys jumping in here as well.
Yeah,
Look at
you gotta
these
let
idiots.
me have fun.
Yeah, you gotta go, Mama. Do your job.
Oh,
Ashabi Ola Wabal Hal Habali.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ashabi, I'm gonna Ashabi your butt out. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
This person is
ignore
not
the idiot in the chat room.
reader.
Not connected with. He will not be connected, and he will be
It
disconnected
happens every
momentarily.
time a psychic comes on. This happens to Paul a lot.
Oh, I get these guys, ladies and gentlemen of the world who are listening to us tonight. These guys here who are doing these are actually thieves. They're trying to get into your accounts. Okay.
Yeah, it's like $100 before you can even talk.
Well, not even that. They're just trying to get access to your account. Once you send them a link to your payment, they're in. So My advice,
Thanks, Lynn.
what advice everybody on our show is
Just block
immediately
them and
report
report
them
them.
and
Mm-hmm.
reblock them. But so I ended up
Sarah, I love you.
on the Jonathan Ross show, which is a very, very big show. It's a bit like your Jimmy Kimmel show in the United States, but so Jonathan Ross is same over here. But it was after that that I noticed everything was going not down the music route that I wanted.
Oh,
Everything was going well in the music, but everything was pulling me in a different direction. I mean, literally going, no, 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 you need to be here. No, you need to be doing this. And then I started being
so it
invited to
wasn't
big
based on
shows.
you being a slave, right?
Do you know what I believe now? And I'm writing a book at the moment called Walking with the Light. Sorry. And I believe you probably won't believe me, but it's a true story. But back when I was a kid, I think 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I was so shy. I was agoraphobic. I wouldn't go out. I couldn't go out. And I then went and studied martial arts. And I studied martial arts in a big way. And I learned all about chi energy and the
Mm,
spirit of the
wow.
martial arts. And I realized, oh my God, there's more to this than just Bruce Lee wanting to kick somebody's head off, and I studied multiples of different martial arts, and I was so interested in the Zen, the Buddhism, the whole echelons of the spiritual aspect of the martial arts than I was the actual physical fighting, and I wasn't really bothered about that at all. So that was my intro to it, and then they took me away, and I studied. I went and studied business, and I went and studied catering, and became a chef, and trained by big chefs, and blah blah blah. Um, and I realized then they were getting me out in front of people. Then they got me into the music business. You're talking about somebody who's so agoraphobically shy. They got me into the music business. And all of a sudden, I'm on stages, singing to multiples of people, and I realized that my career was they were training me all the way from being agoraphobic to getting onto stages to getting in front of people. That so they were basically training me.
I'm
That's
trying to
my
block.
guides, and that were all training me to get me to be able to be where I'm supposed to be. And then when I was in front of my teacher, both two of my teachers both said to me, Paul, you were supposed to be in front. You're supposed to do this on the stage. You're not supposed to do this in little rooms and one-to-ones. You're supposed to be doing this on the big stage.
Mhm.
Um, are you guys are getting slam dunked with a whole pile
I'm
of these
trying
Oh,
to
idiots?
go. I actually went on my phone to go and try to delete and block.
because we can't delete them, and if you block them, you're blocking it from yourself. So I just said to Sean, I was very nice about it. You know how I am. Thank you. Uh, leave our chat room. No one will connect with you, and we're done. Hi, Dave.
So I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
It's really sad that we get these idiots, But you know what?
Yeah, just please ignore.
Yeah. So
Oh my
lo
God.
and behold, it was a training process from being a child at 5 years old who had his first spiritual interaction right through to who I am today. So.
I know that's amazing. Your grandmother, right? You had a
Mm.
interaction with your grandma.
Yeah, well, I remember to this as I'm thinking about it, I still see and feel and know exactly what happened. I walked into the room and there was a gentleman sitting over. So I walked into the room that way and I looked over to my left. There was a gentleman sitting on the chair and I could see him and he was smiling at me. And I mean, at the time, I didn't think a lot of it, but when I think about it now, I realize he was paler than everybody else. But I didn't think about, when you're 5 or 6 years old, you don't think about it. Oh my God, you're a bit pale, And he looked at me and he smiled and he said hi, and I said, and then he said something to me, and I can't remember what it was he was saying, but he was being really, really kind and told me I was going to be special or something along those lines.
Oh,
And you know, my grandmother thought I was just playing. She
Mm.
thought I was just playing, I had an imaginary friend, but I can see him clear as a bell.
right.
And it was about 3 weeks later on that my grandmother showed me a picture of this gentleman. And I was like, oh my God, that's him. And she went, who? I said, that's the man I was talking to in front room. She goes, no, 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 no. I said, I'm telling you, that's him. That's the man. She goes, that's your great uncle Hugh. I said, okay, good. She goes, he died 20 years ago. So you weren't talking to him. And I said, I know who I was talking to, and that was him.
Yeah.
And so that
Now,
was my first.
was there someone else in the family?
He was sorry, in what way?
And spiritually, like, was there other psychics in the family?
No, I'm the first. No, that
Cool.
being said, I was at my mom's house, and I would remember them talking about the tea leaves. I could see them to this day, them, and they were looking at the tea leaves. So they were talking about tea
That's
leaves.
yeah,
But
that's divination.
yeah, but at the end of the day, I'd never heard of a psychic medium till I moved to the UK. You know, I'd never that was never brought up. But you got to understand as well, all of the shall we say the spiritual things that were happening to me, they recognized as being the calling. In Ireland it's called the
Mhm.
calling, and the calling means you're going to be a priest. Now they were elated by that.
Oh
They
yeah.
Yeah,
thought we
Oh
could build a
yes,
priest.
because
So
then
he,
you would be following the
like
family's footsteps.
yeah,
I'm going to put the picture up right now. So
exactly.
tell me
that's
who this
yeah, that's
is.
that's my uncle James right there. That's my grandmother's brother. That's my uncle James, and that's him meeting Jean Paul, the
Yeah,
Pope.
yeah.
So, and the guy with the cardinal who's in the other picture, the red cap, skull cap, those two were best mates. They went through seminary together. So that's Cardinal O'Fee, and he became cardinal. So you got Pope, Cardinal, and Bishop. So that's the three
That's
levels of the top three levels.
perfect, right?
So
So,
I
so
was
you get
well
the
and
calling, and it's
oh
like, oh hallelujah.
well, I had meetings with both of those gentlemen at the same time, and they were asking me questions, and they were like, "Oh yeah, he's going to be, he's going to be in the seminary. Don't worry, his place in the seminary is sorted.
Set
It's
and
you're
secure, and
in,
it's gonna, yeah, yeah.
you know.
And you disappointed them.
No, but I didn't because actually it was my mom. I get my comedic side from my mom. She told me she's like a whip, she's really quick. And one afternoon I went to Armagh Cathedral.
He's making fun of my one.
And Armagh Cathedral is a stunning building. Oh my gosh, it's just beautiful. And so I was in there, and because I'm the nephew of the bishop, I could go wherever I wanted. Really, there's nobody would say to me, "Oh, you can't do this." "Oh, you're the nephew of the bishop." Even today, I'm still introduced in Ireland as the nephew of the bishop. You know, so I went up to the pulpit, and I mean, the pulpit is beautiful carved stones. Oh, stunning workmanship. So, and it's kind of a sort of like a spiral staircase up to it. So I climbed it, and I was standing up there looking out over. I remember it clear as a bell, looking out over the cathedral, and there's a beautiful red velvety kind of thing along it. And my hands were on it like this, and I was saying, "Oh, I remember thinking, I wonder what it's going to be like to give a sermon." So I was looking out over, and I just heard, and I promise you guys, hand over my heart, I heard, "Not like this, not this way."
Wow.
And
And
I
go,
looked
you
behind me.
answered a question that was put into the chat.
Well, somebody
Before
asked me that today.
somebody asked how. Here we go. Give me a second. Let me get up before
Yeah.
somebody else pops up
I
some
didn't know you
nonsense.
were
Oh,
meeting.
How did you
how
know
did
you were in it? Was it by birth or you grew?
it was both, Carmen. It was I didn't know what a medium was until well late in my life. Had this interaction with spirit on a regular basis, but my family were very spiritual. They were very, very, very Catholic. Having a bishop in the family, having a bishop in the family in Ireland is the same as royalty. It's
Yep.
it's it's very,
Hmm.
very,
Oh my God, yeah.
if you drop a bag of crisps in our house, you had to go to mass. You know what I mean? So, um, but I heard when I was standing up in the pulpit, I heard, not like this, not this way. And
Mhm.
I thought somebody was going to give me grief for being up there. So I looked behind me thinking, oh, I'm going to be told off here. And I looked around and I heard it again, not this way. And I thought,
And you heat it, because that's the
well,
thing.
no, there was a complete emotional sort of thing that went right over me and went, don't worry, it's you're going to be doing this work, but not like this. And I went down, and I was walking down the stairs. I um I was walking down the stairs, and my mom came walking along the bottom. She was brushing the floor because she had volunteered to clean in there. And she
Chips.
said to me, "Well, how did it fit?" And I said, "Oh, not like this, Mom, not this way." And without a second breath, she went, "Ah, well, at least I won't have to call you father," and just kept on working.
Oh, mom's
Oh, well,
good.
And
that
then
might
I
work
looked at
out.
her and I was like, "Oh my God, I am
Okay.
blessed. I was blessed to
Yeah.
have this lady as my
Yeah. Go.
mom."
Yeah.
So I no no she just went, "Oh well, at least I won't have to call you father." And there was no like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me? You're supposed to be a priest. You're going to be a bloody priest." None of that. And I went over to the the railing where the altar is. I mean,
Mm.
beautiful, beautiful place. And I looked up and I said, "Show me how I'm supposed to do it." And I just turned. I bowed, because we were always taught to show respect, bow, and I turned
Genuflect.
the one
Yeah.
out, and I did the old, the Irish Catholic thing in the holy
Sign
water,
of the
the altar
cross.
fluttering,
Yeah.
and I
That's the
walked
only way
out.
I remember my right hand from my left hand. Even after 61 years, I gotta sit there.
I go like.
Okay, right.
So I walked out, and at that point I was like, okay, I'm not going to be a priest, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And it was only later that when my teacher had said to me, "Right, you're way ahead here. I want you to work with me in the churches." And I went, ching, right. That's what you meant, not this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I ended up being in churches, and I ended up doing seminars in churches and doing, church services all over the Southwest. And I realized that I was very, very good at preaching, but not preaching in like a priest. I was able to bring spiritual understanding to people in a way that they could take it comedically. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so I was able to do it that way.
That's a
I
good
love
way to deliver, because otherwise, some people get nervous and scared about the whole concept of everything, and it's not.
well,
It's not a scary thing. But if you
it's not.
bring it forth with some comedy, it's
Hmm.
an
Mhm.
easier pill to swallow.
Well, I said, I tell people, it depends on what kind of a mood I'm in, but I just say to them, your husband's in spirit, right? And people are going, yeah. Well, three of his girlfriends are with him. You you see their faces change, and I'm going, but it's not like that. It's not like here. It's like, and they go, oh my God, and I went, so there's a humor there,
Yeah.
and I said
Yeah.
to them, okay, um, what do you think? Do you think when you look back, when you're on the other side of life and you're looking back, do you want people all to be sad when we're talking about you, or would you like the humor, would them to be who they are, full of humor, full of laughter? And everybody goes, humor and laughter. I said, well, exactly, that's what they want. They don't want
Mhm.
sadness, glum. Oh my God, that's not what they're not like that. So they don't want to see us like that. So I brought my hero, my personal hero, is Patch Adams. I might have
Oh,
told you
I
this
love
before.
that movie.
Yeah.
I
Well, it's
mean, I
the
love the
Patch
movie
Adams,
because
yeah, the
it's
movie Patch
based on
Adams
a
with
true.
Robin Williams, yeah.
Yeah, based on a
But
true story. But
he's a real guy. He's a
yeah,
real true guy. And
Hmm.
Patch Adams found that when he brought comedy into the wards, that the patients healed up to 25% faster.
well, yes, when you have endorphins going through your body,
Right.
it's much better.
So
Gloom and doom denotes
yeah.
gloom
So
and doom.
when I realized what I wanted to do was bring the same concept into my work, because
Yes, we miss Robin Williams.
mediums don't need to
You
be.
never know what's going on in people's
What
lives.
part of England are you from? I'm
Yeah, what part of
Irish.
England? Yeah, what part of England?
Carmen saying, "What part of England are you from?" I'm actually Irish,
And he's
Carmen, but
Irish.
my wife is a Scouser, so she's from Liverpool. And when we have it, we rarely have an argument, but when she's in a bad mood, the only person that can understand her is the dog.
Hmm.
So because she speaks in such a high
Oh.
tone, no, 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 she starts off like, and I look at the dog for a translation.
No worries, Carmen. It's not a. She doesn't get
There's
so
one
upset
thing that I
about it.
promised my wife. One thing I promised
I
my
like
wife.
this.
I said to her when we get together, I promise you one thing and one thing only. And she said, "What's that?" I said, "I will make you laugh every day." And I have never failed in 11 years.
Oh,
Every day she will laugh,
well,
well,
that's
without
awesome.
fail. The only day that I didn't, the only one day in our life together that I didn't get to make her laugh was the day that she had the brain surgery. That's that one day. The following day, I made her laugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's going to help her heal.
Yeah.
you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
it
No
really is.
mistake, Carmen.
She's doing okay now, though. I mean, everything's.
Oh, she's doing really really well. She is. No, do you know what she's doing? Remarkably, phenomenally well. She's very rambunctious. She won't. She's like, no sickness is going to get me down, and then
Nice.
she gets up and gets on with it. So I look at her and I think, oh my god, I just look at her and go, you're just mind boggling. You blow my mind a bit. I'm blessed. I've got brilliant children. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got phenomenal friends.
Right. Hey, you know what? You're in the Fox Den. What more?
I know,
Yeah.
but then there's Darlene. There's always balance. So I told you I'd get you back for
Okay.
how crack was
You guys,
earlier.
you guys have to remember one thing. I've known Paul for a while. How I met Paul, I had a good friend over in the UK. Never met physically, but we've
Yeah.
always been friends on thing. And she was going away with her husband to see a show, and she says, "Oh, there's this guy Paul, and he's a singer." And I was like, "Okay, fine." She goes, "You want me to bring you on the dance floor?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah." So Paul here was a singer, and she brought me on her tablet, and so he was singing to me, and I was dancing on the. So I mean, our connection started a little bit strange. So
Long.
I
Well,
change a good
then
thing
it's
Hey, how
good
come I
thing.
haven't had a dance?
because he don't sing no more.
Well, it's not that I don't
Yeah, I
sing
wanna
no
say
more.
that.
It's that you may not have rhythm.
He's
My name's
busy.
Paul, not God. So
I have no rhythm. My talents lie elsewhere. I cannot
There you
sing.
go.
I
Yeah,
tell you what,
she doesn't need to dance. She creates amazing
videos.
Other
She
things.
her calling is
She's
she's a movie producer. There's a movie producer inside her. She's got the skills and the artistical flair to become a movie producer.
Well, when you come
look.
to
She's
the
got
US,
enough patience for everything. She deals with me every week and you once in a while.
Somebody asked me on the screen. I just caught it there. Somebody had asked me, "Did I believe in reincarnation?"
where was
I
that?
saw it. I saw it in
I-
one of you in the chat room. Someone asked me, "Did I believe in reincarnation?" Absolutely, totally, 100%,
Hmm.
100%.
Missing these things. Mama, you're not paying attention.
That's because she's mesmerized by my accent.
Yeah. You've heard me sing. Yeah, you've heard me sing, and that was good. That
Oh,
was
Sharon asked me because there you go. She said,
okay.
and I 100%. I've actually one of my managers many moons back. Her son, uh, and he'd never been outside the UK, so and they live in oh crikey,
Cranky.
kind of like in the sort of Midlands area of the UK, and her son walked up to her and spoke fluent Chinese, fluent Mandarin to her, and
Mm.
said to her, "You're only my mother now.
Mm.
You're only looking after me now.
Mm.
You're
Yeah.
not my real mom." And she rang me, frightened out of her mind, and said to me, "Is this real?" I went, "Oh yeah, that's true." There's a great movie, or sorry, series on television. I don't know what different parts of the world have different sort of options, but there's a great show called The Ghost in My Child, a TV show.
Mm.
So Google it. It's
Not
called
that I know of. I have not seen that.
it'll blow your mind. And there's so much physical and scientific evidence proving that these
About
people
reincarnation.
had lived
Yeah, I mean,
before.
I've seen clips, especially one little boy blew my mind that he was stating so many facts about the World War One.
Yes.
All of the names of the people in his what do they call them? Platoons, whatever they are,
Yeah. Yeah.
regiments, whatever they are.
It's on
And
Amazon.
so all the people, all the machinery that they were using, the guns that they were using, and like just little synchronicity
Yeah.
things that you wouldn't
Stuff you couldn't
read in
understand.
a book. You know what I mean? So it's not like he was taught. And this kid was like 4 years old. You know,
Mm.
that's
Have
insane.
you heard of the old concept? That child's been here before. You heard that?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh my God,
I'm
that
an old
child's been here
soul. I know I'm an old soul.
That's what that is. And you'll also understand. You can understand old souls because they've just got too much wisdom for their
Mhm.
years. But you can also understand a new soul as well, because they just
Oh
don't
yeah.
know how the world works. They're still trying to figure that out, fathom it out.
Yeah.
I'm a believer that my dad was a pretty new soul. He wasn't
Yeah.
absolutely, but he had very selfish tendencies. And don't get me wrong, he loved his family and stuff, and don't get me wrong, he wasn't a bad guy, but he had very selfish tendencies, and I could tell that he didn't get it. There was a one of the last moments of my time with my father was probably the most memorable in my entire career and life ever. Um, my dad had only weeks to live. I didn't know that. I didn't know, it's
Oh.
important that I did not. You guys know I didn't know that. And I was over there, and it was 3:30 in the morning, and I heard him shout my name, and I was lying on the couch in our house in Ireland, and funny thing about it was, as he shouted my name, I instantaneously turned back into 12-year-old Paul, because I was thinking, "Oh shit,
Oh.
what have I done wrong?" But
Yeah.
when your dad called
Yep.
you, you might, God, and I went,
For us, it's when you use the full name, your
"Yeah,
full
when you,
title. It, it, it,
Paul
it's
Francis again,
running
you
out.
get in here right now."
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
crap.
so
Mhm.
my mother used to say to me, "Bend over to slap you," because she was so short. So, like, but my dad called me down. So, and my dad was he wasn't he couldn't converse with you. Well, he couldn't converse with us. He could converse with everybody else, but not us. So
Mm.
he called me down. And he said, "Oh, sit down," and it's just like 3:30 in the morning. I said, are you thirsty? Do you need something?" And he was on a very special bed that moved. That it was a hospital bed that moved, so he wouldn't get sores and stuff like that. He was bedridden.
Okay.
And he said, "Sit down," and I said, "Okay." And he said, "No, I'm good." He just we'll have a chat. 3:30 in the morning. I'm thinking, well, okay, this is a rarity. So he asked me what I thought of my brother, and not Paddy, my next one, the next one down, Peter. He said to me, "What do you think of Peter?" And I thought, this is not a time for politics. You know?
Mm.
So I said,
Mm.
he is who he is. Peter's Peter. Peter's Peter. He goes, he's a condescending little prick. I was like, okay,
Oh
all
Yes,
no.
right,
yeah.
okay. And I went, well, takes all kinds. I thought, I'm not being driven into politics. This is not, I don't want to spend a lot. And that was the last time, that night with him. And the following day, I was flying back to the UK. So I thought, I'm not wasting this time getting into any rows or anything like that.
Mm.
You know? So he said, and my dad he would go right around the block before he would get to the point, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
So
I know
he,
that.
I can feel the point coming, and he goes to me, and he looked at me, and my dad he's kind of like old school, like headmaster. So he wore his glasses towards the end of his nose, and he would look over his glasses at you.
Mm-hmm.
So he's looking at me, and he's looking at me straight, and I thought, here it comes, and he goes, "That shit you do, is it real?" Honest to God, those are the exact words
Oh.
he used. He said, "That shit you do, is it real?" So I went like like this. Um, Even I was 57 years old, and even 57 years old, I still couldn't curse in front of him. That kind of thing.
That's
So I said, "Oh,
respect.
yeah, yeah." But I
Yeah,
said to
it
him,
is.
I said, "All right, Dad." I said, "You've known me my entire life, right?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Am I the kind of guy that would rip people off in the darkest moments of their life?" He said, "Absolutely not." I said, "So let's start from there."
Right.
And he looked at
Mhm.
me and he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, look, we'll establish that I'm not a liar, I'm not a cheat, and I'm not a thief." He said, "No,
Yeah.
you're none of those." I said, "Right. So, um, what's going to happen is," and I'm going to give you guys literally almost verbatim the story. And I said, "What's going to happen is when you're ready to go," and I said, "Now, it's important that you understand this, Dad. I don't want you to go. I want you to stay here." I said, "But that's my selfishness. I understand that." I said, "But that's a selfishness I'm not going to give up on. I want you here." Okay. I said, "And you're a cantankerous old git. So I want you to use that cantankerous energy and stay," which he did, you know.
Mhm.
Um, I said, "But when it's time for you to go, um, mom will cross you over." And he went,
Oh.
What?" Like that. And I went, Mom will meet you and cross you over. He said, "Okay." I said, "But your mom and dad will," and he went, like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he went, "What do you mean mom will cross me over?" I said, "Well, mom will meet you, and she'll help you transit from here in the physical to
Mm-hmm.
there in the spiritual. And that is all I had to say to him. I didn't have to say anything else.
Yeah.
Um, he literally said, "All right, so mom's definitely going to be there." I said, "Dad, I promise you, my mom will help you, and she will be there, and she's here now." And I said, "But she will help you cross to the other side of life." And
Yeah.
he said to me one thing. Now, Ireland seems to be the only place in the world that I've seen that does this. In Ireland, we have a thing called mass cards.
Called
Okay,
what?
a
Mass
mass
cards.
Oh,
card.
mass card. Yes. Yeah.
So when someone passes, we fill out a little card, and it's a kind of a condolences card, and we give it to the
Hmm.
family. It's a kind of like, it's like a birthday card for somebody who's died, but
Yeah,
it's
we do. We do
a
that.
nice
Yeah.
thing.
We do that.
So my dad kept all of my mother's mass
Mass
cards, and there were
cards.
hundreds of them,
Oh, wow.
hundreds.
I have Mark's, my late husband. I have
All right.
all the cards from his thing still.
Oh, that's a lovely thing. My dad said to me the very last thing, literally as I was getting up to go back and lie on the couch, he said to me, "I want you to promise me one thing." And I said, "Sure, Dad. What do you want?" He said, "Just make sure all your mom's cards are in with me."
Oh,
That's all he said.
Mhm.
Now I was getting up the following morning. I was flying back to the UK, and one of my buddies was coming down to pick me up. And I went in and I said, "Hey, Dad, listen, I've got to go." And he said, "Well, have a good flight." And he was looking out the window, and he said, "Hey, look." I said, "Yeah." And I looked over, and he said, "You see the bird table?" I said, "Yeah." Now, it's important that you guys understand I never ever once conversed about my spirituality or my spiritual path with my dad. He
Mhm.
heard from other, he was very versed on what I did, but he went and found out
hmm,
from other people.
yeah. Yeah.
And he said, "Look, do you see the bird feeder?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "See the robin?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "There's your mom." Now, I never once told him
Mhm.
that the link between me and my mother is a robin.
Yeah.
I never told him that. And I went, "Oh my God." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yep, that's it."
Love it.
Um, so by the by, I'm going to jump a month or 2 months ahead, and my dad passed. Actually, now it's 1:37 a.m. Today's the day my dad passed. This is my dad's anniversary today.
Hmm.
So he he passed. He crossed over, and we so he died on. It was actually Good Friday. He passed on, and we had to lay him in
So
Ireland. It's
like
really really quick.
his
When you
anniversary last week.
well, actually, the dates, because the dates change. The
Yeah.
the day is
Good
Good Friday,
Friday.
but
Yeah,
the
Good
dates change.
Friday. You know.
So on Easter Monday in Ireland, we were laying to rest because you couldn't lay him to rest on Easter Sundays. Obviously. So we laid him to rest, and my dad is very, very traditional. So they were talking in the Gaelic language
Oh,
at his
nice.
funeral. It's nice if you understand it.
Yeah.
To me, it was absolute gibberish. I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. But
Yeah.
I closed my eyes, and and you guys know I'm truthful to a pain, in fact. And I closed my eyes, and literally within milliseconds of me closing my eyes, I got a vision, whoosh, like that. And the vision was my mom and dad dancing,
Hmm.
and they were dancing, and he was wearing his black suit with his white shirt and his thin black tie, and his hair was all cool. And my mom was in, I don't know what the ladies call it, but it was kind of like a short top, and then the dress goes out.
The
No,
poodle
the thin
skirt.
layers. I don't know what they're called, but anyway, she was wearing one of those. And one of the things that they used to tell me way, 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 way back when we were kids, they used to say, "Always, I met your mom at a dance," or "My dad,
I was
your dad and I
supposed
used
to
to go
at
to
suck
dances."
offs and stuff.
Um, but obviously we hadn't spoken about that in decades. And then I closed, and I just got this whoosh of the two of them dancing,
That's wonderful.
Back in the day. Yeah.
and I
May
just,
I take? Can I take one moment here just to say, you guys that are listening and such, say some prayers for my dad right now because he's going through some major stuff. He had fallen last week. His birthday, he had an 87th birthday over the weekend. He went to that party. He was very defeatist. This is not my dad. He was always strong. I always looked up to him. He was always, construction. I learned everything by watching him. He's not a conversationalist like your dad. You know what I mean?
yeah,
He would teach by watching you and making sure you don't like cut your finger off with the saw. Then he would step in type guy. You know what I mean? But if you asked him a question, he would tell you.
Yeah.
But he's going through some really rough things, and they gave him some
Absolutely.
scans, and they found lesions on his brain. So they first thought he was having a stroke. Now they think he's got some type of brain cancer, but that made this defeatist attitude that he has right now. But he was doing scans again last night at midnight. It's
Yeah.
like crazy times. So I'm still not, I haven't gotten any updates today. So I've been a nervous wreck. I don't know if you can see it on my face or not. I feel like I can't hide things sometimes, but,
You shouldn't have to.
For those of us who know you, you don't have to.
You
But
don't have
yes,
to.
everybody, prayers for Gina and her dad,
yeah.
and for Paul's wife, for having to put up with him and the fighting.
Yeah.
Like,
But, I mean, yeah,
Oh, I'm so glad I'm here tonight.
it's just, I haven't been able to do this to anybody in a long time. So I was like, when Gina said, "Ooh, Paul's coming on," I went, "Yes."
She just went zink like
yeah,
that.
yes.
Why you think I'm a redhead for nothing?
My mother was your
Mhm.
coloring. My
Mhm.
mom had your coloring.
Thank you.
That's probably why I can get away with this shit, because you'd be like,
She
your mom would be
she
coming up
was like,
behind your back, your head going,
oh yeah. Oh my god, yeah. She was a nurse, so she like no sympathy whatsoever.
you know.
Hi Paul. As a psychic medium, how do you channel or communicate with the other side? Nice. That's a good question, Nadine. Is it okay
Yeah,
if I
that's a
do
good
Yeah,
this?
question.
go for it.
Yep, I'm gonna put
Um,
that one up there.
well, it's kind of like I have a really I kind of came up with a cool idea that I call it psychic shorthand. And I sat down with my guides many moons ago, and I wrote out a system, and I literally created a system that they could use to be able to talk to me to make life easier for both of us. So psychic shorthand. So for example, I'll say a green flower, and that'll mean they want me to talk about affairs of the heart,
Oh,
affairs of the heart. I'll see a
Mhm,
red
mhm.
flower, they want me to, a red rose, they want me to pass down love. If I see a yellow rose, they want me to talk about health related issues. White roses, they want birthday and anniversaries. So I wrote out a whole system where they can talk to me really, really quickly. So but I'm a psychic medium, and the concept is all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums.
The
So
mediums.
that's the way
Mhm.
it works. But so I use all of the senses: sight, hear, sound, taste, smell, touch, all of that, connected with how they link to me when they're talking to me, how they affect me emotionally and physically as well.
Mhm.
So it's they'll use everything and anything, including memories of mine, to be able to get a message across. For an example, let's say they wanted to show me a picture of my dad. Okay, they'll want me to talk about the rank, father, dad, or they want
Yeah.
me to talk about his name. So it was strong P. That's funny that because there were three guys, no, it's Paul, Paddy, Peter. There was four guys in my family. So my dad was P. McGann. I'm P. McGann. My brother is Paddy McGann. He's another P, and then there's Peter. So it was four of us P. McGann. So when a bill
Wow.
arrived at the house, it was Dad.
Four
And you
peas
go,
in a
that's got to be
pod.
here. Yeah, four piece in a pod.
Mhm.
So I will use. They will interact with me in pretty much every way. And here's the thing: is my guides. I have a team. I refer to them as the team, and the
Mhm.
team is made up of guides. And I have Shan, who's my master guide, and she's been with me since the moment I took my first breath. I have my gatekeeper. I have Sean, Frank, Chen, Margaret, Blackfoot, Guy, and Philip, and they've all got different jobs.
yep.
I
Mhm.
mean, Sean is my master guide. The coolest story I can share with you with Frank was he just said, "Oh, call me Frank," but he wore a monk's I don't know what they're called. You know, with the hood,
Yeah.
Habit.
and then
Habit.
And
it's
the
called a
rope.
habit, and the cross like beads around
Oh,
their waist.
Mhm.
He just said, "Call me Frank," and I never seen his
Spanish
face.
Inquisition.
Yeah, I could only see the hood was hanging down. I could see his chin, and that was it. You just said, "Call me Frank." That's all. You just call me Frank. And he was very. He
Mhm.
wasn't like just call me Frank. It was like just call me
So
Frank.
it wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, just call me Frank. And but it was years in that I realized every time Frank came in to work with me, there was animals involved. and
Hmm.
I never put two and two together. Never put two and two together.
Okay, before I don't want you to say. I want everybody in the chat room to put in where you think this
Where this is
who
going,
Frank is. Okay,
who Frank
I'm
is.
pretty sure. Yeah. So if
So
anybody wants to put in their 2 cents, go for it.
I'm in the middle of a big it was about like a big show that was about a 4-day event, and I'm working with Colin Fry and people like that, and I'm in meditation, and Frank comes forward, and he just stands there and he goes, woof, and he pulls his hood back, and I went, I know you, I know you, and he's standing there and he's just
Not a
smiling at me,
rooster.
and Frank's a rooster, and I'm going, I know you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking at me and he says, "Do you recognize me?" I said, "Yeah, of course I recognize you." But and I've got the word Frank, clear in my head,
Embedded in the
Frank.
brain. Yeah.
So I'm not thinking past Frank. Okay.
Mm,
And he went, "You call me Frank?" And I went, "Yeah." He said, "But my other name is Francis of
Francis.
Assisi."
Mm.
And I
Oh,
went, "Holy shit!"
oh,
And
I got goosebumps.
he went, "Yeah,
Yep.
Saint Francis of Assisi." And he said,
Thanks, Lynn.
but you just call me Frank."
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so Frank has been with me, and anytime that if I'm dealing with animals or I'm dealing with anything to do with the animal world, he will be right close to me. And if I'm dealing with, yeah, if I'm dealing with sharing wisdom, Chen will come close. He's a grandmaster. He's wisdom, and he will come close. Margaret is funny. She is an old school head mistress, so
Oh.
she is around me for discipline.
Ooh,
She's
she must
oh
have her job cut out with you.
oh, she keeps me right on the line. She's like, and
You
then
go, girl.
the one you'll see working with me a lot is Guy. Is He's called Guy, and he's a little feisty Cockney, and he's wait, and so you'll see
Oh,
me
Lordy.
almost change like when I'm working, and I'll go right, come on, like that, and that's him working through me, and I'll be, "Ooh, ooh, ooh." And Philip is he's very calm. He's just okay. Let's look at it from this angle. Let's look at it from that angle.
Yeah.
He speaks like that,
Oh,
and he will bring me back down, and I will talk like this.
wow.
Okay, I've never seen you
Yeah.
talk like that.
So now,
I've seen.
yeah, Chris,
I think it's more that one to
my
ones.
old partner, yeah, all
Yeah.
his guides, he would change too. You
Mm.
know, when
A
he
Blackfoot though. Blackfoot is a Native American guy. He's to me when I see him, he's about like 8 foot tall, and he's a he's a big grumpy git, and he's like that. And in 35 years, he may have spoken to me 5 times,
wow.
and he
I
just
mean,
said,
everybody needs to
Well,
say when you
"My
those
say it.
job is to
Other than that,
protect you. That's it." And then I was doing some work with a beautiful, wonderful group of people in the United States who then they were Native American people, and they, I don't know what you call it, adopted me into the tribe or something like whatever,
hmm
but they gave me the name. They call me the Raven, he who walks in both worlds.
Nice.
And when I was starting to work with them, he came right out like he'd known me all his life. Yes, yes, you will talk with these people. You will do this. You will do. I'm looking at him going, "You can talk." This is before, so
Yeah,
the
that's
guys are
good that
grumpy,
you're doing that.
but
Yeah.
he
when he
told
has
me, he said to me, my job is to protect you."
yeah, when he has something to say, he'll say. Until then, I do
So
Yeah.
strong silent type.
Yep.
I remember one time we were so for
That's why I
Gina
love.
we were going to do we were doing a very, actually it was I don't want to sound big headed, but it was they were doing a TV show on me. They were following me to do a show, and we were going towards this room, and Sean came forward, and Blackfoot came forward and went, "Don't go in that room." I went, "Okay." I Once they said that, didn't challenge it. So I said to the TV crew and the other team, I said, "Don't go in that room." Okay, the energy in there's not good. Don't go in that room.
Yep.
Okay. So and one my team who were with me always knew if I said X Y
Don't
Z,
you
that
don't.
was it. That it wasn't up for challenge. It was, "Oh,
hmm
okay." Of course, two of the guys in the TV crew thought.
Yeah,
What's
we gotta do
best
that.
to go in that room?
Of course, one of them went into the room,
Yep. What
and
happened?
so I'm right down at the bottom of this, and it's a very, very old thing. It was built in the 1200s, and it was an old English pub. And I'm right down, and I hear Paul, Paul, you need to come up, Paul, you need to come up. So I'm coming up the stairs. I'm like, what? And there's one of these guys who I told not to go into the room, standing, looking out the window, and not responding to another person in the room. And he's going, I have to go. I have to go. And he was ready for jumping out of this window,
Yeah.
which he would have died, because it was like 2 stories high. And so I think Philip must have been part of it, because I went, really, look at me. And I went right down, look at me, and I brought him back. And
Hmm.
he said, when I was looking out that window, I wasn't seeing what's out there. I was seeing something completely different.
Yeah.
He was seeing like horse and carts and of the 1200s era.
Wow.
And I said, did you go in that room? And he went, yeah. He said, I didn't think it was real. I said, what about now?
Yeah.
He was like,
Yep. Yep.
so,
And
know,
people always have to test,
well,
because it's like and it's from way back. People are just like, don't stick your finger in that light socket. Hello, look, my curly hair. Hello, can we see this? Okay, But you're allowed to
you gotta
question,
do.
but just don't overstep bounds.
Well, it's like,
Spirit guide you trust, because
well,
even
I trust, yeah, but
like
I've went through years of working with him, so my trust levels were really, really up there.
right.
But
Yeah.
when you are a young guy,
Our
you're
spirit
coming
guides.
into, yeah, when
We
you're a
did.
young guy and you're coming into this world of TV and
Yeah.
filming and sound, and you're not really that connected to what we do, and you're like, and as well as I do. I mean, the amount of times I've come across guys going, "That's full of BS." It's all BS. In fact, I had one on my show last Monday night, but I I just said to him, I said, "Look, you don't understand what energy is." I said, but now you know, now you do. Maybe you'll have it, and now he's got a completely different respect for it. So
Yeah.
so he learned. I
Exactly.
don't.
So long as they learn
That's
from it,
good.
that's what
That's
Yeah,
good.
counts.
so he
That's
learned.
that's
Now,
what we try to do. Teach.
now
But
Nadine
speaking of,
in the chat room has a couple of good questions.
Who
Let's
has
start
that?
with this.
yeah,
Nadine,
Nadine,
can
we
you
love
give us
Nadine.
advice?
We love
Can you
you.
give
We
us
love
advice on how to connect with our guides / angels? I was
Mhm.
told Archangel Michael is around me. I wish I can see or hear him.
Well, the very fact that you mention his name is the fact that proves the fact that he's around you. Okay. Well, and funny you should ask. That can you give us advice on how to connect? I'm about to do a seminar, an online seminar on how to connect with your guides, how to work it. I can have you guys connecting to and working with your guides inside of one evening. I can do that.
Now,
The
is
people
that
now I've
through?
run up against the idiots before who said you can't do that, and then the answer to that question is, I'm sorry, are your guides? Your guides have been with you from day one, right? And they're going, yeah, well, duh, I can.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's not as if I got to bring you down the road to meet them. They've been with you
they've
all
been
of
with
your life. They've been connecting to you. They've been interacting with you. You have been reacting to them. You just haven't put it in a perspective that I'm putting it in. Your gut instinct has been telling you to go forward, step, turn left, turn right. You've been going calling it gut instinct, but all the time it's been your guides and your family saying, "I would go left this time."
It's like,
You
hey, move
know,
it that way. Yeah.
go well that way. So I'm doing a seminar on how to meet your guides, and it's
Can
an
they
online
connect
seminar.
into that seminar if they're
They
interested through
can,
your
they
website?
can, yeah, they can book. And the good thing about it is I'm only allowing 10 people in each seminar.
that's good.
So that means I can give all of those 10 people absolute time, so they can connect with me through that. They go to my website and they can
I put the
also
link for
connect.
your website in the chat room so everybody can just click on it. But
Perfect.
basically, Gina had it up there. It's, of course, www.paulfrancis111 @.com.
So I'm doing that. The further you get in, the more I teach. So the initial is let's get you in contact with your guides. And out of that, you get three concepts. Number one, you get the concept of how to meditate, learn how to meditate
Mhm.
properly. Number two is you meet your guides. Number three is I'm teaching you that you understand what protection is about as well. So out of that first
Yeah.
seminar, you're learning three of
Yeah.
the biggest
Also,
principles you
you
need.
have in your book, the Safe Way.
Hmm.
You have a lot about that, about cleansing your houses, about
Yeah.
protecting yourself, protecting others. There's a
Hmm.
lot of that step by step, in there too. So
Well,
that's a
as I call it the three P's. The protect the PPP, protection of self,
It's
protection of
competing.
environment, and protection of client.
mhm.
So I call it the
Yes.
three
Yes.
P's. So
Yeah,
protection of self, gotta be, have to be.
yeah.
Protection of your environment, in other words, your house, your home, your area that you work,
Mm-hmm.
and protection of the people that I'm working with.
Thank
So if
you.
people
A
come
lot
to
of
me,
people won't do that too. Like they say, I'm gonna cleanse my house. I'm gonna cleanse
mm,
my house. It's like, well, did you ground and shield first?
yeah.
Everything in your house that you're getting rid of is gonna go right into you. All right, you're not gonna really be getting rid of it now, are you?
Well,
You
the thing that scares me a bit is a lot of people think they just walk about with
with sage
white
and this
sage, and
and
all of a
that.
sudden they're cleansed. That's
Yeah, no, no,
no,
Uh-huh.
no,
No,
no.
doesn't
Colette,
work
she's
that
not
way.
doing readings.
No, no, no. All right, I'm just, and if you didn't hear me, no. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
it's somebody want me to do readings for them.
this
Yeah.
It's
that call that was
and just to Colette, just so you understand, you can join me on a Monday night where I do reads, but just to let you know, it's 4 minutes to 2 a.m. here.
yeah.
So it's 2 o'clock in the
Not
morning
telling.
for me. But I'm
His
enjoying it.
guys are
So,
going, why are you still up?
oh no, it's well, actually normally
He's, he's stayed up this
I'm
late
getting
for
old.
us.
I'm
I
getting
know.
old.
Mm.
At ten
I
thirty
could
at
have
night,
been at 10.
I'm looking
Excuse
forward
me,
to
wait a
going to
minute.
bed.
How old are you again?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
He's younger than me. He's
let's put
younger
it this way: there's a 5 in front of it. That's all you need to know.
Guess what?
he's
There's a
younger
6
than
in
me.
front of mine, so you're still a young
Yeah.
boy.
Me too. Me too. Yeah.
Well, it's been a very significant year for me this year because I hit my 59th birthday, and this is the age my mother got to when she passed with cancer.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of like, yeah, and all the way through my 50s, because my mom's been gone 25 years, all the way through my 50s, and I was thinking
Dreading to
I'm
get to
getting
you.
to 58, 56, 57, 58. Oh my God, next year's 59. I'm 59. Am I going to surpass 59? Until a really, really close friend of mine, who is a phenomenal medium, ripped me a new one, literally,
Mm,
and went, "That was your mother's journey. That's not your journey."
Right.
I was like, "Okay, cool."
Right.
So, but it's kind of nagging right there, you know.
Well, you can't help it. I mean, that's the human nature right there.
Hmm.
But can you answer this one for Nadine? Because I really think this is a good question. Paul,
This
what are your
one,
thoughts on individuals with autism or special needs? Because she does have two boys that are severe. They have severe autism and are not
not
verbal.
verbal,
Why
why on the other.
are they
Do you know
here?
what? There's
What
about
is their
three questions there, and I'm more than happy to answer all of them. Number one, first and foremost, people with autism and people with what's called locked-in syndromes and people of that are very psychic.
hmm
Okay, because it's actually one of the compensations they have to be able to interact with the world. Okay, if you see people who are blind and deaf, their psychic ability, their connection, their understanding and reading of energy is off the
amazing?
charts.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So, first and foremost, their connection to you on a they can detect whether you're in a good mood or a bad mood, whether you're feeling healthy or whether you're feeling ill. They don't have to see you; they can detect it. Okay, so
hmm
that's one thing. So that's very, very cool. So and start treating them as having that ability. Okay, a lot of people tend to treat people who have various ailments. They focus on the ailment and they don't focus on what qualities they have.
Yeah.
You know, I've
She's
been
amazing
around
with them. She is just amazing with them.
I've been around so many young people who've got different levels of disability, and they have the most amazing hearts. They're most amazing souls. Now, why are they here and what's their purpose on this earth? Well, here's the good thing for all mothers. Okay, something I want to tell you guys out there. You were chosen by your children.
Yep.
Your children chose you. Okay. Now, for all of the moms, and hey, listen, I'm a dad, and I have two in the spirit. For those children who touch the earth just for a short term and then go back, they still chose you to do that. They knew that was the journey. They knew what they were going to be here for, how long they were going to be here for, and how they were going to go back. They knew it, but they still chose you. You were
Yep.
selected for a great, because you have the ability to be able to give them that experience
Yeah.
that they needed whilst they're here. So they knew what they were going to go through, Nadine.
That's
Okay.
right.
They knew they were going to experience what they were going to go through, but more importantly, they knew that they had the best teacher ever, which
See
is you.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my God. What a beautiful, you know what? I love the way you explain things. I love the way you talk. I love, I don't know if it's the accent that puts it through. I don't, but
Usually
There's
you
that's
know,
something that
I,
Gina,
goes against
and
and
the
me.
then
same
there's
thing with my Boston accent. Doesn't come out so well.
yeah.
It's did you notice that Philip came in there? Philip, it
Yeah,
can all come right
it got
down.
very calm, very.
So it all calmed down, and you answered the question, and you answered correctly. And I think Philip was a geography teacher, maybe, or something like that. But he's
Hold on.
lovely. He's very, very lovely. He's very calming. He's very wonderful.
She's sending hugs and kisses and thank you and love and gratitude, and it
Oh,
warms her.
you are more than welcome. Um, I'm very, very open to answering questions, you guys. Very open. I
Okay.
love it.
Yes, yes. Nine
Oh,
o'clock.
Let, It's
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock,
All right, we
and then
got
I
to
got a
take
question for
our
you
little
when we come
crystal
back.
break, and then we're going to come back. Okay.
sure.
We have
Yeah.
Athena, who will be. She's joining us again via. Uh, uh,
Mom challenge.
yes, Mom Jones. This
I'm
is the
looking forward to
crystal
this,
tonight.
actually.
We're going to be talking about labradorite. Okay, and there she is holding the cute little stone. All right, so I'm going to bring her video on, and we'll be back after she's done.
Hello, loves. I am Athena Barry, Reiki Master and author of award-winning book Raise Your Vibes and my new crystal deck, Raise Your Vibes Crystal Cards, and of course, crystalreikihealer.com. And I am so grateful to be back here for another week on the Fox Den Show with our signature Crystal of the Week segment. So let's dive in. For this week's show, I really felt called to the energy of labradorite. Let's see if you can see that beauty. This crystal is so magical. If you can see this iridescence that comes with it, it's like you really can see so far beyond, like your consciousness is just expansive when you work with this crystal. And I use the word magical because it really sets you on this path of self-discovery, whether that means psychically, intuitively, strengthening your Claire's gifts, or understanding, receiving clear messages from the divine, from our spirit guides, our angels. This stone it's used pretty much across the board in all things magic. So witchy, psychic readings, telepathy, astral travel, Akashic records, past life regression. There's so many, astral travel, and it allows us to really clearly visualize the past, present, future, and even other realms or and other planes of consciousness for this amazing sense of peaceful awareness of who we are and why we are. Labradorite is number 47 in my new Oracle deck, Raise Your Vibes Crystal Cards, and it is the crystal of self-discovery in this deck. So drawing this card or working with this crystal helps to tap into that inner knowledge of your spirit that's been guiding you to create shifts towards, a new and improved you, if that makes sense. And it serves as a reminder that, who you were years ago, even yesterday, does not have to define who you are in the now. So you can go ahead, reinvent yourself in the way that you feel is right for you right now. The ways you can use this crystal, it is wonderful to place, directly on your decks, on your tarot or your oracle decks, giving you that clarity of, what the messages are going to come through for you. What do they all mean, right? So when you work with labradorite and placing that over your decks, or your other spiritual tools, it really helps channel that divine knowledge and, helps you either give a better reading to yourself, to your friends, to your clients, or whoever, whatever you're working with. It's wonderful to use in crystal grids, right? I love to use this crystal in my grids for clients, especially when they're having, spiritual awakenings, or they feel like stuck in their spiritual practice. This is a wonderful one to just open that all back up again. It's also really great to use for your manifesting work. If you're doing new moon, placing those on your manifesting lists, or your wishes, your goals, your dreams, because you're able to channel in what it is you really want, what it is you really need, and then gives you that clarity of what you can do to make them come to fruition. I like to tuck them into my bra. You can put them in your pocket, in your purse. It's wonderful under your pillow, especially if you're, maybe you've been struggling with your dreams, or you want to have more lucid dreaming, or you want to experience astral travel. I don't know if any of you have tried that. It is so cool the first time you do it, and so cool every time after. It's also a wonderful choice to use as a pendulum for when you're looking for those yes or no answers. You can also connect with this crystal's energy if you feel called to, with a ASMR crystal Reiki session. It's free on my own YouTube channel, Crystal Reiki Healer, after the show, of course. And of course, I love to leave you with a wonderful affirmation to help you connect with your crystal's energy. And for this one, it is, I am strong enough to live my truth and follow the path I know is right for me. And that wraps up our Crystal of the Week segment for Labradorite. I love you and I miss you, and I can't wait to be back live. And I just hope that these continue to bring value to your show. Thank you so much, ladies. Mwah. Bye for now.
Wow.
Unmute us all.
Unmute, yeah, you'll find it easier to communicate.
No, she does. She always picks the perfect crystal for every show. And she usually is here live with us, but she's got younger kids and they are running her ragged. she has a lot going on today. We were talking.
One of the things that I say to people, situations of the past have no relevance to the future. And she just said that, forget the past and live in the now. I couldn't agree with that anymore. She literally, situations of the past, stuff of the past that has happened, it's over, it's happened, have no relevance to your future unless you make them relevant. In other words, and how I explain that to people is, I ask everybody, and I'll ask you two guys right now, when was the last time you fell over and grazed your knee?
I fall all the time.
Think back. When's the last time you fell over and grazed your knee? I mean, it can be last week, last month, last year, 10 years ago. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, probably last week for me.
Okay, so the second part of that question is, which is worse, the graze or the feeling stupid?
Stupid.
Right. Feeling stupid. So basically what you said is, from here on forwards, I'm going to watch where I'm walking because I did not feel like an ass when I fell over. That's called the lesson. But you don't carry with you the actual graze.
Yeah, right. No,
That's the action.
you say, all
So
right, I tripped over this thing twice now. I'm going to walk a little
I'm gonna
further out
watch. I'm
this
gonna
time.
learn. So you learn the lesson. You bring the lesson with you, but you leave the situation in the past, because that's what
Yeah.
that means. Situations of the past have no relevance to the future unless you make them relevant.
Yeah. Just say hello to Roger and Faye.
Oh,
I know.
Roger and Faye are here, are they?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, they're they're superstars, aren't they?
They are. I love
Yes, they
them.
are because they've been on our show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. But Faye needs a little encouragement to go on do her own show.
I have
Yes.
said that. I have said Faye's Angels should start. It should begin, and she has an immense internal wisdom, and she doesn't realize she's got it, but she has. She has an immense wisdom. I think it's the Celt in her. Actually, that it's
You think so?
There you go.
the
It's that
Celt.
feisty
It's
spirit there that goes
she's
Heard
on
it
obviously
here
got
now.
only
a
on
very
that side of the pond.
she's got Scottish, and if she's got Scottish blood in her, that means she's got Irish blood in her. So that's the Celt. And I live in Cornwall in the UK, and the Cornish are Celts. They don't like the English. They don't call themselves English. They say we're Cornish. We're not English. Do
Yeah.
not call me an Englishman. So okay, probably why I live here actually. But there we go. So in relation to all of the people who were expecting me to do readings for them tonight, maybe next time I'm on the Fox, then maybe.
Maybe next time
we'll have
we
them
will
back
have
on.
a special reading show with you. But tonight is more of a pick your brain. So I
Yeah.
have a question.
Yeah, I like
Fire away.
teaching shows.
Lynn, I agree. Kel's are brilliant. Hello, darling. There you go. So many people are out there looking for a good medium,
Uh-huh.
and we all know that like basically you have to trust your gut when you're talking to somebody and you want them to read. Don't feed the psychic. Don't feed the medium. Don't give out too much information. Simple yes or no. A real medium, a real psychic will just ask you just for that, not ask you to expound, right? But you as a psychic medium, when you see somebody, okay, you see me doing my cards, doing my thing, how often do you see somebody and you go, they just handed a line of BS, like they're doing it, but they're not doing it. It's not coming from here. It's from here more.
It's a load of. I've listened to so many idiots, and
Have you
you're right.
ever had to sort of like say, look, yeah, no. It's like, have you ever gone up to them and said, no, no, somebody ever asked you, like, okay,
Well,
Paul,
first
this is me,
I
Mom.
was.
Do I
I,
have it in me type of thing,
well, I treat every. See, first and foremost, I remember the times when I was coming up through the ranks. Derek Cora said to me, I was sitting in his kitchen and we were chatting away, and he said to me, Paul, you're the fastest ranking medium in the UK. You're flying up through the ranks faster than anybody else. He said, but the higher up you get, the bigger the bullseye on your back.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I said, okay.
Yeah, people too will
and
help
he
to
said
help you. They will help you to get there. They will
Yeah,
help
well,
you get
well
that top
he said to
confidence
me
to
that
do
the thing about it,
wants to
the
tear you
reason
down.
that we got on was I never stood on anybody else's coattails. I would never do it.
Yeah.
I just didn't do it. I did it on my own. If people liked me for who I was, fine. If they didn't, hey. But he said to me he had a lot of respect for me because I didn't stand on other people's coattails. So I said, fine. And I sat down with I sat down with the Derek Acora,
Mhm.
the Derek Acora, and I said to him, and I remember. Oh yeah, he won't mind. We were
We won't
talking and
mind.
dealing with a completely different kind of spirit.
Okay.
One that
Okay,
comes
I
in
know
little
those spirits.
glasses,
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And I said, Derek, I said, listen, the people of the world need to get to know this Derek, not the
Mm.
Derek of Most Haunted. Okay,
Yeah.
this Derek. This is the Derek they need, and I promise you, you will be the top medium in one of the top mediums in the world because this Derek is so honest and so down to earth and such a loving person.
You to
In
me.
fact, he loved Johanna better than me. He took to Johanna because she's a
Oh,
scouser, you see, and I get pushed to one side then at that point. But um, he said to me, as you fly up these ranks, he said you will become a target. for everybody else. Now, with that in mind, that never left my mind. So when I look at other people, I look at other people thinking, are they trying to find their way?
Mm.
So that's my first and foremost. And then, but then, and I look at people who think they're the dog's cojones, and you're looking at them and you think you haven't a clue about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way, guys, and
Well, we see it on a daily.
once again, total honesty. There's a guy over here who's riding on his father's footsteps, on his coattails. I got a call one morning, and I was getting ready for my day, and I got a call, and this woman said to me, Paul, and she was crying, literally crying on the phone, properly.
Mm.
And I said, how can I help you? She goes, um, my daughter went to, and I can't name the guy for legal
George's.
reasons. Went to George's, and George. Now this girl who went to him was 14 years old at the time. 14,
Okay.
okay, and this cretin
Twat.
convinced this child that she had an evil spirit in her.
Oh my God.
No, no, no. This child was then getting prepared to take her life.
Oh, really? Nice.
So
You know
I had
what?
him.
5 minutes alone in a room with this guy.
I had him. I won't. Hey, don't you worry. That was taken care of. I had then had. I literally cancelled all of my appointments of that day and gave that
Good.
family my absolute. And
Yeah.
I convinced this child that not only could she not possibly have an evil spirit in her, but I had to then show her why she didn't have an evil spirit in her. And I said to her, do this, do this, do this. Can you do that? And how do you feel? No, nothing. I said, there you go. An evil spirit wouldn't allow you to do that. An evil spirit wouldn't allow you to talk to me,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. So, you know, so I do come across cretins like that on a regular basis, and these idiots that you you can clearly tell they have it as a business and not for what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
there's paranormal teams that do the same thing. There's,
Hmm.
in all the different areas, metaphysics. There's
Yeah.
the difference between, psychics and the paranormal, you know what I mean? But there's still the same shit goes on with both realms there.
Well,
right?
see, the thing about it is, I don't mind business. Business is business, and money is money. And we, at the end of the day, we all have bills. We
It's
all
what
have
you
to
do.
pay.
Yeah,
And
it's what you do for a living. You should get
I'm totally
paid
okay.
for doing
Yeah.
what you do for a living. All right. There's nothing
My
wrong.
teacher taught me. She said to me, Paul, you don't charge for what you do. You charge for your time. How much is your time worth?
Yeah.
And I went, oh my God, never thought of it that point of view. And I had a real problem in charging people. And back in those days, let me give it to you guys in dollars. In Canadian dollars, I was charging roughly $6 for a reading, and I
No.
was getting nothing. Nobody was
Yeah.
coming to me.
Wow.
I doubled it, and I started getting reads. I tripled it. I started getting more reads. I quadrupled it, and I started getting a waiting list. So people
Okay, so I get it now. Raise your
Pe-
prices, darling. I
Yeah,
got
well,
you.
people were defining me on how much I charged as to how
Value
good I was,
yourself.
Yeah.
how
Yourself.
much I was valuing, and more importantly, I learned as well that the universe values you on what you value yourself too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Me and Mama go back and forth with this concept too. Because I like to do the cards too. The oracle cards. Now we have our free pop-up.
okay, let me ask you guys a question. Let me flip it around on you two guys. Mama, how much do you charge for a read?
$80.
80
And
bucks.
and it took me a while to get there.
Right. How much do you charge, Gina?
60,
Right. Do you know what John Edwards charges?
300 and 400.
$750
Jesus.
a session. 700 and he has a waiting list. Okay. So I want Colin Fry was a friend of mine. He was recognized as the number one medium in the UK, and he said to me, Paul, you need to be on at very least £150 an hour. I said, Colin, I don't live in London. I live in Cornwall. They can't afford it down here. He said, Paul, what's more important, that they get onto a telephone line and spend £1 a minute on a telephone line to an idiot, or
yeah.
sit in front of you who clearly knows what he's doing? And again, I thought, oh my God, you're right. You're right. And they're charging £2.50 a minute for these
That's
people.
insane.
Wow.
Yeah, that is insane.
And then
So,
I
so
thought, you know
let,
what?
let's
And half
let's
of it
review
is
how much do you charge for a session?
At the moment, still, I'm not, I don't charge a lot. I charge in probably around the same as you do, about
80.
$80 a
So in
session.
UK it's 160.
It's about £55 thereabouts. I
Oh, that's
charge.
right. Mine is double. That's right.
Yeah, yours is double, but that is going to have to go up because it
Bills?
just has to go up. But bills and the
Yeah.
cost of living is rocketing and so on and so forth.
Oh,
But
sure.
anyway, it's not about that really. I mean, I do my shows free of charge. You
Mhm.
know,
right.
so I kind of people say to me, "Oh, you shouldn't be charging. Why? Do you not charge for what you do? Do you go to work
I
and do
know,
it
and
for
that's the
free?"
big thing
Yeah.
with paranormal too. It's like, oh, if you get a paranormal team that charges to come and investigate your house, then they're
Yeah.
not worth their gain. You know what I mean? But it's like still, right? I agree with that. Okay, to a
Mm.
degree. But if this is all you're doing, you know, a little compensation for gas because
Yeah.
gas is through the roof. You know what I mean?
Well,
Stuff
true.
like that.
Well, you
It's
see,
fine, you know, as a donation.
what
But
what I
not
charge
as
is
a
you got to look at it from a different concept. I mean, I know what you do, and I know what you do. What you both do. But let's put it for a let me change your perspective. Alrighty. So, to for people to go out to an evening, so to say something as dreary as a nightclub, okay,
Mhm.
they have to pay a ridiculous amount of money to get into the nightclub, okay, and then they got to
Yeah.
pay an even worse amount of money for drinks. So the average night out in a nightclub, you're going to come away having spent no less than 200, maybe $300.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So
And then you feel miserable the next day.
and you get the next morning, you're feeling sick, you feel like you've been run over by a truck, and you're $300 light. So, how about we spend one third of that? Not even, no, let's put it like 1/6 of that. And we have a great night's entertainment going out with Gina B and the crew, and we go out ghost hunting, and we have a ball, we have a laugh, we have some food, we have a good giggles, and we have a great night out, and we come home and we talk about it for the next 3 or 4 weeks
Yeah.
Right,
and you've spent 1/6 of that money.
right.
You got to look at it from a different perspective. You have a great night's entertainment. You have such a giggle, such a laugh, and me, you guys. If you guys ever come out ghost hunting with me, I'm really the prankster. I don't.
I would
You
love
don't.
it.
Brings up the
We-
vibration. So
What
I
is, what
mean,
is
it's
this?
something good.
What is
That's Paraghost.
Paraghost?
Well, Paraghost is my new. It's the new company mascot. Well, basically, I wanted to create something that brought every element of what I do
Yes.
into play. So paranormal,
Yeah.
ghost hunting, para ghost,
Ah, 'cause I like
and
those.
the symbol is the symbol of the triangle is clarity. That's what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Cool.
star is also about seeing energy in every direction. That's what that means. So there's a reason for that design.
Oh, I bet there is.
Uh, so there's a pyramid, there's a
Met
triangle,
with
stars.
madness.
Yep.
There's always method in there,
Yep.
and
I
so,
like it.
so
It would make a great. It would make a great cryptochords box.
well, what it's going on? It's going on a lot of merchandise. I mean, if you can imagine, it's going on hats, it's on caps, it's on
Yeah.
t-shirts, it's on jackets, and it looks cool. So I wanted something that looked cool, but the Paraghost was looking at the world of paranormal, and the world of paranormal isn't exclusive to spirit. The
You,
world of paranormal is in multiples of other different things. Like, for an example, one of the things that I do pretty much every night is I go outside and I'll sit and I'll look at the stars and I'll watch to see if I can see anything like UFOs or anything like that in the sky, night sky. So that's paranormal as well. But I
Oh,
also teach
yeah.
people of the world that you should always look normal first before paranormal.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. You have to debunk everything.
Well, I look at the world of normal first, and then you got to then think what the hell's normal. But you got to look at the world normal, and the word para means beyond,
Yeah.
beyond normal.
yeah.
So, and people ring me up and go, "Oh my god, I've got these things happening in my house," and I'm getting, "Is your window open?
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
have you had issues with the air in your tank system?" And you got to check out everything first. You got
Yeah.
to look at normal first, then paranormal.
Right.
But I'm being called to a lot of properties in city of Truro, where is near where I live, but they converted an old hospital into flats. So a lot of people are going, I'm seeing these weird people walking about. Yeah, you will. You know,
Yeah, depending on your area. Yeah, yeah,
And they go, listen, you know all these people that are turning up in the house, and I go, yeah. What do you think we could do? And I go, move. That's about it. Because there's no way you're shifting those. There's too many years of
Yeah.
hospital to be even start to figure that one out.
Mm.
My advice is move. And they go, really? Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's a desperate thing, but it's a true thing, you
yeah.
know. And yeah, and you were asking before we got on air. You were saying, why is it it's only in America that there's so many demons? And there isn't. Again, it's all a farce. It's all drama and entertainment for TV. Because
It drives me nuts.
yeah, not saying that it doesn't exist
No.
because it does, but it is the minority and not the majority.
Okay, 35 years of doing this work. 35 years.
I think
And
he's
I have
only
come
40.
across and I have come across. I wish, that would be knocking nearly 20 years off. I'd be quite happy with that. But I've come across what you might refer to as, shall we say, a deeply negative spirit, maybe 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, I had one really,
Maybe,
really, really nasty
yeah.
spirit. I would say that one was be borderline, the one that terrorized my house,
Was that because you took the
all
stuff
day,
from the?
broke my microwave, told me to
That's because you
sacrifice
took the
my
stuff from
dog.
his site.
Yes, and at the time I
Yeah.
did. I did the bad things. I
Well,
took things
so
home. I
he was
invested.
having a temper tantrum. He wasn't
I did everything
bullying
wrong.
me.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
he
mean,
was having a temper tantrum. She took my toys.
Nadine's asking a cool question again. You mentioned UFOs. The universe is vast. Are there intergalactic beings among us?
Oh
Absolutely.
hell, we
Yes.
were talking about that too.
Look
Yes.
at your president.
Yeah.
Oh, oh.
So, your president, I'm not too sure if he actually knows which planet he's on.
he,
If you look at his eyes, he's like,
he has to look at his wife for all the answers, and he really does.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's, that was a joke, and I genuinely mean that was a joke. But would you really, really, really want to take on that particular post? Not a chance,
No.
because you will never, ever, ever get it right. You
No,
cannot
that's the thing,
please
and that's the
everybody.
thing. So many people go, "Well, I didn't vote for so and so." Whether it's, and y'all know I'm in Canada, so we get some
Yeah.
people get a little uppity with my prime minister, even though he's got great hair. Um, it's a joke from when he was first running. The bad thing people could think, the negative side could find good about him was his hair. And
Hmm.
he's
Well,
just
the funny thing about the UK is every number one level of the government over here are all Asian.
Oh really?
there you go.
Everyone, even in Scotland.
Wow.
So it's going to kick off over here now as well. So
Oh boy.
Yeah.
so much so that Johanna and I are actually thinking about moving back to Ireland. So,
Wow. I know.
but
I seriously, if I could, I would get out of this country. This country is nothing like it should be. It is not.
well, the world is
It's
nothing like it.
uh,
I
yeah,
haven't seen a
the
single.
Oh, Tahiti.
I haven't seen a single country in the world that's all my oldest friends, my friends who've been my closest friends since we were 11 years old, are all saying, "Paul, don't come back. It's not the same place." You
yeah.
Yeah.
know, they're all saying that. Um, but what do you do? The only other way out of this is you buy an island and you create your own life there. But at the end of the day, here's something that that wonderful lady who said in your video momentarily ago. She said, "Life starts now. It
Yep.
doesn't start yesterday, or last year, or last month, or last. It starts right now." And the amount of time that I've told people to say, "Right, you know what? I'm going to give you the rest of the day today to finish off being the idiot that you are, because tomorrow morning you get up and you're going to be the rock star you wanted to be."
Yeah.
And they're going, "Huh?" So you got literally got the rest of the day to be an idiot. Do you want to do that? No. Well, make the choice. Like, no, no, no. Tell you what, carry on being the person that you're not enjoying for the rest of the day, and then tomorrow morning you're going to get up and you're going to say, right, I'm going to do what Paul said. I'm going to be this person. But they won't wait till tomorrow morning because they want to be a good person. So they'll start literally when I tell them not to. Um, Being a psychic medium isn't only about being able to bring people's messages through from the other side of life. It's about being able to show people paths that they may have lost, show
Mhm.
people ways and means forward, and whether that be come through a message or whether that be coming through what we refer to as life coaching. And everything's got to have a label, hasn't it? I mean, in the
Yeah.
days of old, we would just call it words of wisdom, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
life
Yeah.
coaching.
I know
So,
everything has to be politically correct,
I'm a
everything
life coach.
labeled.
well,
All
do you
I
know
got
one of the,
mama sense. What
do you
did I
know
say?
my very first lesson in life coaching was guy goes into the doctor and he says to the doctor, every time I put my arm in there it hurts. He says, well, don't do it then.
don't do that.
Exactly.
That was my
I
first
like the
lesson.
idea. Yeah, I like the idea that I've got mama sense. I
Yeah.
will. People will come to me, go, can you? And I'll be like, okay, well, here's what I'll give you. I'll give you both sides of the fence. Here's what I give you. You have to make up your own mind. I can't make your mind up.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it's coaches these days. A lot of them are trying to tell people how to do things.
Hmm.
Even they have fancy ways of doing it. They're trying to tell. And it's
I wrote a book.
Well, it depends
called-
on what kind of a type of a coach you're going after too, though, because
yeah.
if
No,
you're
I'm just saying a
a
general
business
life coach.
or a life
Yeah.
coach
Well,
or
I
life
wrote a book a little while, still available, and called The Little Book of Quick Wisdom.
Sorry.
Right, and the idea of the book was I wrote it in that you didn't have to read it front to back. The idea was being if you're having a day, and everybody has a day, right?
Is
Yeah.
that real? Is that hold on? I'm
Right.
sorry. I'm like kind of blown away by this right now. A packet of
What's the
cigarettes
difference
is
of the monetary
$50.
difference between Australia and us?
Yeah, what's Australian money?
Dollars.
U.S. dollars.
No, Canadian. Oh, sorry, Australian dollars.
Australian
Yeah,
dollars to
Australian
U.S. dollars. How much would that be in U.S. dollars? I know it's like outrageous. I don't smoke, so
God
I,
knows.
I don't know that.
So I wrote this book that basically it's a little tiny book. Of
$33.94, roughly.
how much
$33.94.
for a pack of cigarettes? What are they out of their minds?
Well, maybe
To
that's
put yourself in your own grave?
Is that a case of cigarettes rather than a pack?
That's
What's that? Yeah, a package. What? What
package.
is that? Like a whole thing of a whole?
Okay,
bunch?
let me ask you another question. Gina, you live in the United States, right?
Yeah.
How much does it cost to sit down in front of a doctor to have a consultation on cancer?
It depends on your copays.
No, just say that you had to walk in and pay cold hard cash.
I honest to God don't know because
Give me a guesstimate.
A couple
How
of
much would a
$100
doctor
is way they
charge?
more
talk.
than that. No, way more than that for a cancer doctor. Oh my God, it's got to be like around $500.
Right, which is more cheap? Which is cheaper?
Sharon said 1,005.
$1,500.
$1,500. So
Yeah.
the best thing to do is not pay out $60 for a pack of cigarettes in the first place.
There you go.
Oof. It's I mean, that's just. I mean, with all the when we were kids and we were smoking, there wasn't all this information out there on how bad it was.
Plus, there wasn't as much crap on the
then all of a
cigarettes as there is
came
now.
out.
The reason why you smoked when you were a kid was because it was so cool to do so. Because
was.
all the
Exactly.
movie
And
stars
because we were told not
all
to.
smoked, and the movie stars. You weren't cool in this. You were walking along with a cigarette in your hand. I mean, I didn't smoke because I just couldn't do it. I tried to look cool. That was me looking like a choked chicken trying to breathe. But so I just didn't smoke. But I also grew up in a house full of nurses. My parents were nurses. My aunts were all nurses, and now my daughter's a nurse. So I grew up in a house full of medical people who said you're an idiot if you do. So.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
I quit smoking. They were $1.35 a pack. That's when I quit smoking. So
well, I don't even drink. I'm an Irishman who doesn't drink. No.
Sacrilege.
No, well, actually, I'm not a non-alcoholic. Don't get me wrong. Johanna doesn't drink.
Did you say you're not normal, Paul?
I drink. I'll have a bottle of beer and every now and again, or if I go home to Ireland to my boys,
I know.
my dudes, I'll drink with the boys. But so I don't miss it. I don't.
I not at all. Not one little bit. I did. You know what? I did enough of that when I was a young kid and teenager for my entire life. You know.
Yeah, we did that. We did that when me and the boys used to. Me and the boys did that. I'm not going to go there because otherwise they'll hound me. They'll literally hound me.
Yeah.
But you know what? I just then again, you and I, us three, looked at that price, $50 for a pack of cigarettes.
And almost
But
in the coronary.
I was on a really good wage when I first started working in a hotel, and I was on £21 a week.
Yeah.
That was a good wage. So
Yeah.
their wages today are, you're on $10 an hour minimum to do the most sort of menial of jobs over here. So that's 150, well, about 100 odd pounds a day. So
Yeah.
yes, yes, the prices are ridiculous, but we're correlating those prices based upon when we were young, and it's not that world anymore. But if you do smoke, it's not a really good idea. You know, each to
Yeah,
their
no,
own.
I can't. I just can't. It just it boggles me. Like I know it's an addiction, but the thing is like if you quit and you quit without going and getting hypnotized and getting the stupid patch and chewing the crap and doing all that stuff, just fucking quit. All right, I'm just saying it as it is. All right, two
You know,
weeks out, you'll be in
you can
two.
tell my father's around, my dad's
Oh
around
no, Gina
because
talks like this all the time, Paul.
no, Gina, because my dad imparted onto me various little levels, of little beauties of wisdom, and he said to me, "Son, never trust a woman until she curses." He said that to me. Don't ever trust a woman until she curses. Once she curses, then you can trust her. So
There you go.
I'm not sure if
And that's
that means you
exactly what
trust
it
me or
is.
not.
Seriously, just quit the cigarettes. I mean, God, you're paying a damn fortune to kill yourselves, right? The knowledge is out there now. All right, there's no excuse for you to be doing it. It's not. You can't smoke in the stores. You can't smoke in the restaurants. You can't smoke at work. You can't smoke anywhere. So what are you doing? You're leaving. You're scurrying away to hiding little
Well,
smoke
here
areas.
we have to. They have to be a certain distance from an open door. So if anybody who smokes at my job, basically they have to stand on the sidewalk, which is like
well, the thing about it is they're not
a little
realizing as
ways.
well those vapor things are just as bad.
Yes. Yeah. Air goes in the lungs.
Yeah,
Air.
you
Air is
know,
what's meant to go in the lungs. That's
air.
it. All right. That's it. End of story. You
It's
know?
it's
Like this
just
man says, I don't drink or smoke either. My career was a dance teacher, choreographer.
Good
Yes.
for you. Good for you. Yeah, but because I did smoke and I smoked for many
smoke
years.
like with the Letitia Adams.
But
Okay.
this is what happened to me, right? Now I got COVID, when I first came out, I got it so bad that I got COPD and emphysema, which my doctor said, well, apparently it was in my system from smoking all those years ago, but
Right.
wouldn't have come out in me until my 80s or 90s. But yet COVID fast tracked that to the spot that I'm in now.
Mhm.
So when people, that's another little pet peeve when people say that COVID doesn't exist. Yeah, it does. And did it ruin my life? Yes, it did. Am I still living? Yes, but can't do half the things that I want to do. So I can't breathe.
It's I'm I can see both sides of the coin there because my daughter, she's a nurse, so she works primarily with children, but they're the ones that carry more disease than humans, or sorry,
So,
not humans, but adults, meant to say. Because when your children go to school, you're going to get everything that comes into that
yes, the
school.
little ones. Yes.
So she said to me, Dad, forget what you're watching TV, believe it, it's real. And I said, okay. So um, at the end of the day, do you know what? There's only one person in your life that's going to choose your direction. And that's you. You know, choose a direction that's going to make you. Only choose directions that takes you towards your goals.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. It's there's one of my favorite actors is one of the Avengers. The guy who plays Hawkeye. The
Yeah.
Arrow.
He was just in an accident a while back.
Yeah. Well, he was on. He was on one of those talk show hosts the other night, and I was watching obviously a recording of it, And he said, and I don't smoke anymore. I don't smoke anymore. He says, see, getting run over by a snow machine, that's the best and easiest way to stop smoking. And I was like, oh, what a great attitude. So he said, I don't need to smoke anymore. He said,
Yeah.
honestly, £200 snowmobile, that'll stop you smoking.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
like,
Exactly.
that'll do it. That
Exactly.
will
Exactly.
definitely do it. Um,
yeah.
but this is also a good question. Cannabis is legal in California. What are your thoughts of CBD, THC? Mother Nature provides.
Yeah, I'm 100%. Well, this, but Nadine and everybody else, the Native American people had cures that by far and outweigh most of the cures we have today.
Yes.
Okay, and back in the early, 800s to thousands to 2000s, right up to, well, the Native Americans had already got the cure for cancer, and a lot of those cures came from the cocoa plant.
Mm,
Okay,
Hmm.
such as cannabis and things of that nature.
yeah,
Cannabis, they're only
I
now
love the
starting to allow you to be
emotions.
able to get legal versions of cannabis. I mean, here in the UK, you can actually be prescribed legal versions of cannabis because it relieves a lot more pain and it relieves a lot more stress and anxiety
Hmm.
than the medicines that they're trying to ram down your throat. And CBD is exactly the same. So I would always err on the side of Mother Nature. She taught us
Definitely.
way before, you know. And what's happening now is the med companies are all kicking up and they're shouting and screaming because they know a lot of these cures are coming from that particular plant.
Yeah.
But the Native American people and the
Have no
Aboriginal
further.
people had that sewed up many,
Yeah,
many years ago.
yeah, yeah.
And the people from the rainforest. I mean, they found the cure for cancer. There's a movie made about it starring
Yes.
James
Sean,
Bond, Sean Connery,
Sean
and
Connery.
that's based on a
I
true
love that
story.
movie. I bring that up all the time, don't I?
There you go.
I'm always bringing that
They
up.
found the cure for
Yes,
cancer,
and
and
they're gonna
and
go
the
wipe out the forest,
yeah.
Oh
to
yeah.
to build some stupid resort in the middle of the rainforest. Why the hell would you need a resort in the middle of the
But
rainforest?
I found something I quite when I say recently, probably about 6 months ago, but still in terms of my life, that's recent. That the it's not the rainforest that projects the most oxygen onto this planet. That's all farce, not true. It's a lot of it is comes from the grasses under the ocean, at the bottom of the ocean's floor. A lot of the oxygen comes up from that and goes up through the water and releases into the air
Yep, that's
that
why you
way.
see bubbles.
I did not know that. Nope,
Yeah.
I
Well,
did.
that's
All
why
right,
it's
I'm learning
bubbles.
something new, folks. Whoa, whoa,
They
whoa.
the thing about it is they're wrecking the sea floors, which is destroying that oxygen, and
Yep.
that there's more of that disappearing than the rainforest can produce at any time. So that's why they're now starting to re-pump money back into the Great Barrier Reef and all of those, and seagrasses are all being resown
Huh.
and all of that stuff. I mean, okay, we're catching on. Starting to get the
I
point that
really wish we would it's like the powers that be are catching on here and there, right? But I wish us as a general population, and I
well,
mean
you know why? Think
globally,
about it.
everyone would start thinking about that.
Think about this, okay? And this it's very this real, and I kind of love the circle of life for this particular reason. All the idiots who were money grabbing and whose only concept was to get as much power and as much money as possible. Well,
Mhm.
you can have all the power in the world and all of the money you could ever want, but it will not um, push back time.
Yeah,
No. And it
You're
won't.
gonna
It
you're
won't
gonna
really
go
make
out of
you
this
happy.
world exactly the same way as you come in it, no matter who you are. I mean, no matter how high up from kings and queens down to everybody else, they all come in one way and they all go out the same way. And no matter how much money or how well you've been looked after all through your life, will not stop any of that. But all of those idiots are now gone the way of the dodo, and the world's starting to go. Hang on a second, you know,
Mm.
what are we leaving behind for our children?
Mm.
So we're starting to get a grip on stuff. Once again, I'm not the kind of guy who stands and points fingers because I'm not qualified to judge anybody else. The only person I'm qualified to judge is me.
Yeah.
but your thoughts. I want your thoughts on this subject. Now, before the show started, we were talking about things like you don't believe in like a prediction to give a prediction. But
Mm.
now, when there's people like Nostradamus that was all his predictions that did come true. All right, but now he
I'm
did
not a big
also,
believer in that.
wait a minute, he did
Mm.
also predict that we, because we're going to destroy our planet, will be living amongst the stars.
Mm.
Now, what what do you think of? Okay, so we're going to go from the prediction in
Okay.
general, your thoughts, okay, and why,
Yeah.
and to that, to us living in the stars because we're
Well,
destroying our planet.
living in the stars was always going to be the case. In fact, what we don't know, there's no saying you don't know what you don't know. Okay.
Mm.
And it's now starting to leak out through various sort of outlays that we already have people living up, outside the world. That's already happening. Where the inhabiting of the moon is going to happen. And if it's not already inhabited, I'd be greatly surprised. What do you think? All of those ships that were going up, all the space shuttles were going up just for fun. You
I
know,
know, I know, I know.
they were.
Just let's go
What do you
tomorrow.
think? Well, let's send six guys up into the space station just for 6 months
Shits and
jolly.
giggles.
You
Yeah,
know, not at all. Now, in relation to what do you call premonitions? Now, I kind of misspoke myself, so I will be absolutely, get tell you what it's like. Now, when I said I don't believe in predictions,
Sorry,
I
Summer, we're not doing readings.
right.
it's like what I wanted to do, what I meant was predictions can happen, they can come true, but they're not like I predict for you. Okay,
And
it's
the reading.
it'll
So,
come through
and
in a reading, in a concept. 99.9% of the time, what will come through is somebody on the other side of life giving what I refer to them as a heads up. Okay, I call them a heads up. And but usually it's something that's already happening in that person's life, and they're saying, "Listen, I'm understanding this is happening. This is going to be you're already. This is coming towards you." Okay, so they'll give a kind of heads up, but that's more along the lines of, "I'm around you, and I can see what's going on in your life." However,
however, hold on,
however,
however, yeah.
I remember walking into a spiritual church in here in Cornwall, and I walked into the church, and this lady came running across the back. She gave me a big hug, and she said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And I was looking at her, going, "Okay, well, I don't remember this night, you know." And she said, "You saved my son's life." And I was like,
Hmm.
"Okay, I'm sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about." She goes, "I came here the last time you were at this church, and you said to me, 'Tell your son not to go in the car.'" And I
Oh,
said, "Okay." She said, and I told my son, and I was really adamant with him, and he didn't go in the car, and the car got into an accident that night. And his pal's car, that it was, they were in an accident that night, and it was written off, and blah 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 blah. So you saved his life, and I said, "No, I
that's
didn't."
really great. Hey,
I said, "No, I
Summer,
didn't. I didn't save his life. All I did was pass a message through."
yeah, Summer,
Mm.
Summer, Summer. Stop apologizing. It's okay. No, he will do. He has his reading shows that he does on Monday nights, so you can tune in and watch him there, or you can get in touch with him too.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it's
Yeah,
just
you
that
can come along and join me on
we're
Monday
just
night.
yapping.
It's I don't know what you're in my time where I come from is GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, or London time if you want to put it, if it makes life easier. But it's 8 p.m. London time or 3 p.m. Eastern time,
Yeah,
if that's
yeah.
helps you. My show that I don't do on Monday nights is called Reach Across. I also have a show on that was tonight here in the UK, which is called Spirit Quest, which is very much similar to what we're doing here, which is what I'm absolutely loving, by the way. Um, and this, I think, more people learn through
Reach
this.
across. That's a reach across.
Um, I mean, I'm happy to do readings, and I'm happy to do seminars, and I'm doing tours and all that kind of stuff. But um, more people discover more about life and more about the honesty of life and spiritual connection through this medium,
Yes.
chatting, just
Yeah.
chatting.
Yes, we love teaching. We like to share wisdom. We like to ask the questions of, he did, this is his day to day. This is his life. He lives it,
Mhm.
breathes it, walks the walk.
If Summer wants to ask me a question, I'm happy to answer any question for her. because I feel a wee bad that I'm not doing a reading for her now. I feel kind of like, oh, I wish I could help her out.
No,
But
she's new, and
uh,
first off, Summer, thank you very much for stopping, but in
Yeah,
and joining us. It's always great to have new people.
I,
Worship
you
Paul.
know,
I'm kidding.
yeah.
I love people torturing me. She loves that. I'm more than happy to answer questions, and you guys will. Oh, thank you, Sharon. You'll learn a lot more by asking questions.
Yeah.
So just
Definitely.
literally, how do I connect with my guides? Angelica said,
Yeah.
it is very, very simple. You just come to the seminar that I'm doing very shortly. You
Okay.
book into the seminar, and I teach you how to connect with the guides. However, that being said, if you sit quietly and you literally say, and I mean, I genuinely mean quietly. I don't mean hiding yourself in the corner. I mean, literally switching off your anything that will sort of get your attention. So turning off your cell phones, turning off the house phone, telling everybody who's around you to leave you alone for a couple of hours, and you sit and you breathe and you meditate and you go quiet and you say to your guides, "I need to know you're around." They will let you know they're around. Okay, they've been connected to you from the moment you drew breath, the very second you went in this world. Your guides are there.
Yep.
Usually your master guide and your what's referred to as your gatekeeper, and they will both be with you from the moment you draw breath to the very moment you let it go for the last time. And that is something that I
And then
teach
you'll have
people.
ones that come in and out as you need them.
Yeah, you have a lot of people. You'll have different guides come and go throughout of your life while you're learning different aspects of your life and different lessons. And something that I want to share with you guys as well is
Thank you, Lynn.
one of the concepts is that you will never ever pass alone. So don't ever think that such and such died on their own, died alone. That's not the case,
Yeah.
because their loved ones, i.e., their guides, were there for first and foremost. Their guides were there, and secondly of all, um,
Family was there.
100% of everybody that I've known who've crossed, their loved ones come to them
Mhm.
before they cross. So they
Yep.
did not cross on their own. So please don't ever get caught up with that concept. Oh my God, they died alone. No, they didn't. I
Mm.
promise you they didn't.
That's,
So if you've
that's good.
experienced that in your life, let that energy go. Let that negativity go. They didn't pass alone. I
Yeah.
promise you.
Very true. Paul, quick question. Probably not quick, but whatever. I come up with some doozies once in a while.
Far
Um,
away.
a lot of people are afraid of dying.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, what are your thoughts on it? I know I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of leaving the people behind and what they have to deal with. But
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, whatever, because I know I'm coming back.
Right.
Y'all can't get rid of me. I'm
I
come
just
back
need
to
to know
work.
when you're coming back so I can stay up there. So,
I will find your asses. I'll be like,
right. Well,
Joanna, before I go, I'm just letting you know I'll be back.
do you know what? Summer has just nailed it.
That's it.
It's the fear
That's
of
it.
the unknown. The fear of the unknown is why people are afraid to die. Okay, they don't know. Now here's the thing. It's one of the finding reasons why I focused on becoming a medium. Okay, I
Mm,
wanted to find my whole career has been based upon these two principles. Number one, proving that this life doesn't is not the end.
yeah.
Okay, now, and the way I've done that is if I can bring through messages from your loved ones on the other side of life, then that's one method. And then I do what Gina does, and I go out and do paranormal investigation, so I can then prove the physics of, so physically that spirit are connected to us physically. So if I'm getting your emotional connection, i.e., spiritual, and I'm getting your physical connection of the ghost, we have paraghost, don't we?
There you
Yep.
go.
There you go. There
Mm,
you go. And there it is.
So it's a connection of
It's like
both of
perfect.
those. Now,
Perfect
people say to
marriage.
me, which the amount of questions, and I'm going to preempt somebody asking me this question, is the amount of people have come to me and said, which is the right religion?
Yeah.
And
Paragos.
I've
There you
said
go.
to them, there isn't one.
There-
Ah,
Okay. Now, here's the thing, we can get into a completely different debate about which is the right religion. Okay, so I I call myself a recovering Catholic. That's what I refer to myself as.
Oh, and that kind of
yes,
fun.
that's a good
Uh,
way to put it.
I'm
Yep.
a recovering Catholic, but I have a lot more of my sort of feelings are connected to like Zen Buddhism, like
Yes.
a
Mhm.
Native American cultures, like the Aboriginal cultures. I kind of take a little bit from every part of it. But in all of my 35 years of research, I have found one unequivocal thing, that everything, every part from every religion all comes back to one point, and
It's
that
a higher
point
power.
is spirit, soul.
Yeah.
Okay. And then usually when I come up against the clergy, which I do on a regular basis, I always say to them, I'll tell you what, okay,
No.
you can, if you can tell me which religion Jesus was, then I'll follow that one. And they, and they go quiet because they go to me, well, but he, yeah, but he wasn't the Christian that came after. So
Yeah.
he
No,
was Jewish.
and
So
he was a healer
he was
because he put
healer,
his hands on for
if
healing.
he was the king of the Jews, which is through all of the religious texts, why aren't you Jewish and not Christian?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, but he also taught in the synagogues. So why wasn't he whatever religion went under the Egyptian
Muslims and
gods and
foot
all of those
gods and
Yeah.
things?
all of that. And yeah.
Then he was baptized by John the Baptist. So why aren't you a Baptist? What he
There
was
you
trying
go.
to tell you was there isn't one.
Nope.
Follow
I
the
believe
soul.
I was born and raised Catholic, but
Yeah,
I believe that for
it's the
me,
red hair.
my Catholicism is the foundation.
Yeah.
Yes, y'all can pray to the goddess for red hair. It's like, I have no problems
Yeah.
with that.
Okay.
So long
I
as I
do
can beat up on your
understand.
husband's boyfriends, we're good. But but I think that for me, Catholicism is a building block. It's like
Mm,
Reiki. It was something to build on. It just gave me a foundation where to start, and then I go with it where I want. You
yeah.
plant a seed. You can't tell the seed how to grow. You just plant the seed, and the seed will grow wherever it wants to. So whatever religion you chose, your parents chose for you in the beginning,
Mhm.
is your planting seed.
Do you
And
know
whether you go from
there's a lot of wisdom in that. There's a lot of great wisdom in that because
scary,
from the
isn't it?
seed, from the seed becomes the flower. And so, and how well you plant the seed dictates how well the flower is going to grow.
Mhm.
So now, if you look at those concepts based upon, for example, Zen Buddhism, that is so what you've just literally you just dictated Zen Buddhism. Um, Now, what I have found is that if you honor yourself, if you honor yourself on the earth and the spirits of the energies of our ancestors, i.e., our family and friends who've crossed into spirit, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
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 The
People
Zen
get
people
upset, they
and
can
the Native
trust it.
Americans, sorry, the Zen people and the Native Americans all say that the heaven and the earth are all one place. There's no, you don't go up to heaven. Um,
That's
why
like
is heaven up?
a parallel type of a.
Well, I always sort of said this one when I was young, and I used to get the back of a hand for it. If I said, "So let me get this right: if heaven is up," and they're going, "Yeah," so does that mean everybody in Australia is going to hell? And I used to get, "Oh, you think you're smart, do you?" One of those.
Mm. Mine was is like, how could she have been a virgin and still had a baby?
Well,
But I mean,
actually,
but I know,
no,
but I was young enough that was because all I was in that brain
yeah,
of mine was
but
like
science
sex.
has actually proved that that can happen.
I know, but back in the day, it was just like, and if she wasn't married, so was she, she was
Yeah.
breaking a commandment, as like she's had sex before she was married. Like how's that? Yeah, the redhead started early.
I've got my a lovely summer who's saying her mom is a Jehovah's Witness and my dad is a Mormon, so she's kind of confused. I can imagine that
Wow.
being wow, that could be a mind-boggling
Wow. And
experience right
that's
there.
yeah. How many brothers and sisters do you have, if you don't mind me asking? And yeah, that's
Um,
crazy.
the concept of the devil, by the way, just so you all know, was created by man.
Yeah,
Okay, the man created the devil, and there's a few things that I love having a bit of
But
fun
there
with.
is an angelic realm and there is a
Yeah.
demonic realm.
Well,
You can't
the
have one
concept of
without
the
the other.
devil, i.e., the devil, was created by man, and it was created for fear factor.
Yeah.
Okay,
hmm
Keep you
but
in
let's not go this way because I'm not. If you believe in a particular religion and it brings you comfort, then you are absolutely correct. You are 100% correct. If that's what brings you absolute comfort. I go and sit to this day, and only a few days ago, in fact, and I'll probably do it this coming Saturday. I go and sit in the cathedral. And I just love being in the energy. It's very
Yeah,
cleansing,
yeah.
very
Hey, when she was
fulfilling.
young, going to church, she would go there and commune with the angels.
Yeah,
She
definitely.
wasn't paying attention to whatever anything else was going on.
I will sit
She,
there and I'll enjoy it and I'll love it. Um, as for having to do, it's I mean, I have a bit of fun. The Ten Commandments. Let's look at the Ten Commandments for a moment. All right. So Moses goes up the hill. He's talking to a burning bush. That kind of kicks it off right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what
Mm-hmm.
happens? What happens when we get burning bushes? Oh, so some of that.
Oh,
So
thank you.
we've got
Sorry.
burning bushes going off. So no, okay. So let's say that the holy fire absorbed the bush and God spoke through him through the holy fire. Okay, fine, right? Not impossible. Nothing's impossible for the Lord, right? So let us get this right. God carves out two big stone tablets, okay, and puts the Ten Commandments on them. So these are two huge stone tablets.
and this is a
Mo-
long time that he's gone away now too.
now Moses must have been a number one, extremely fit. Okay,
Mm.
right. So
After
God,
after months and months and months of going through the desert.
okay, that's number one. But here, let me just here's the bit that I really want to get to, right? So God, the omnipotent, the holy, the great one, the Holy Father, who I refer to as the Holy Father. Um, he has gone two big stone tablets, Ten Commandments, right? Okay, first and foremost, let's look at the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments come out at a time when Hebrews and blah blah blah. Just so you understand, thou shalt not take thy neighbor's wife. Right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
marriage didn't exist back then. It didn't exist. So how they could get away with that one, I don't know. But anyway, just look at that one. So he brings them down the hill, carries his two big stone tablets. Like God just gave him these tablets, right? God, and he smashes them. Was you go back up the hill and go, do you know them tablets you carved out?
Can you
Any chance I
We
can have a
think
can
copy?
you this? Can you,
Oh, look what he comes
Seriously.
down to. But he's been gone all this time. So was it him carving all that time? You know what I mean? Because it's a long time he's gone.
Ding.
But then you come down and hell broke loose. But that's the point of religion, is because people left to their own devices are a mess. Right? They will
Yeah.
just be out for number one. I'm going to take what I want to make me feel good, and damn with any kind of consequence. Right? So you need consequences in life on account of man will run and push that envelope as far as he possibly can until
Mm.
someone says, "Hey, knock it off." Right?
Sharon is saying there, like they took the broken pieces and they put them in the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, they did.
Um, the broken pieces of what?
The
Uh,
Ten
the
Commandments.
tablet, the Ten
No,
Commandments tablet.
yeah, but they're assuming that that's what they put in there. There was
Yeah,
never actually anybody who said, "I've seen them." So,
true.
do you know what? It doesn't really matter. It really, really
I don't
doesn't matter. And
understand.
do you think Jesus wants to be recognized and remembered
Mhm.
for being nailed to a piece of wood, or does he want to be recognized and remembered for the good that he brought? I think I'd prefer to be remembered for all the good that I brought to the world.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
um, Jesus said one thing, and it's never been. I've never heard any other priest or minister or bishop or anybody ever say this. Jesus said this: "Forget all the rules and just love each other."
Hmm.
I think I'm going to
Now,
go with that one.
globally, on a global scale,
He did. Forget all the rules and just love each other.
that would be, you know. But the thing is people need rules, laws, and regulations. Really, you do. You know, there are a
Yeah.
lot of leaders in the world. There are a lot of people with a lot of common sense, but there are a lot of sheep that don't. You know,
Yeah.
and they do need to be put in line. They do. I'm sorry. Does that sound horrible? It's the truth. Okay. You want look. It's history. Okay. People left to their own devices. They run amok. They all right. Power goes up. Power failure. New York City. What's everyone doing? Bashing down doors and looting, right? Running in and out of buildings, grabbing as many shoes as they can, running down the streets with giant TVs and this and that. Okay. The second something happens, right, that they can
Mm,
get away with it, they're going to do it, right?
mm,
So you do need laws, regulations, and stuff to keep people in line.
yeah.
It's plain and simple, and religion did that first before we had policing. You know,
Well, yeah. There's I mean, but there's a vast difference between policing and religion. But at the same point in time, on your very own, it makes me giggle. On your very own currency, on the United States dollar, irrespective of the size of the dollar, it says "In God We Trust."
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So, it goes all the way through, but it doesn't say in
Instead of
Christianity,
removing it,
or it doesn't
yeah,
say in
instead of
in.
removing it from all the schools and stuff, though,
You know,
because everyone needs to be
well,
politically
I
correct.
just think at the end of the day, we need to be more sort of available to understanding the soul within each other. Now, when I had, something we haven't touched on tonight is NDEs. I had two NDEs. My first NDE, I went up and I wasn't okay. Without getting emotional, I wasn't going to be here for a lot longer. And I went up, and I remember coming out of my body, and there was a pop, like a feel,
Mhm.
like that. And I remember coming up, and my sense of humor came with me. I remember that, and I remember looking back at my body, going, "Oh, that's weird," And my whole personality was there. And then I was in this room. I didn't see any tunnel of light. Didn't see
Yeah.
any. Didn't hear any angels going, "Hey, Paul, how's it going? You all right? Everything cool?" None of that. In fact, I did a drawing. There's a drawing on my Facebook page of somewhere on there of exactly what happened. And I was in this room and it was all dark and I couldn't see anything, nothing. But here's the thing, guys, you're going to love this bit, especially all the ladies. You're going to love this bit. The best way I can describe what was happening to me was I was inside chocolate mousse. That's what it felt like. I could smell like what I can only remember as being chocolate mousse, and it was feel like the air
Oh,
around me was all sort of
freaking heaven. That's
yeah.
heaven.
So I was inside chocolate,
Smooth.
but then I couldn't see physically anybody. I couldn't like I'm looking at you two guys right now. I couldn't see anybody, but I knew they were there, and my senses were telling me they were there. And then I was starting to get this weird sensation of people just touching me with fingertips, just like that, just gently touching me like that, all the way from my head, all the way down my body, right down to my feet. I could feel just little taps, just gentle taps like that, all over, and not in order, just sort of simultaneously all around me. And then I had this wonderful, genteel lady voice say to me, "Okay, Paul, it's time to go back."
Mm-hmm.
And I went, "No." And I said, "No,
Excuse me?
no."
I know.
And I said, and I started arguing with her. And I said, "And I know you can't make me go back either." She went, "Paul, it's time to go back. It's time to go back." And I was going, "No, no, 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 no." Like, looking at it from right now, the weird thing about it was, and you guys know, I love my family. I mean, but there's no limits to what I love my family. I've got three daughters and a son, and I never gave them one thought when I was up there. Not
Yeah.
one thought. They didn't even enter my conscious. And I said to this woman, and I know you can't. I'm not going back. I'm not. Hey, I'm not going back. And I know you can't make me go back. If I don't want to go back, you. And she went, "You got to go back. You've got work to do." Boom, like that. And off I went.
Wow.
And I remember coming down, and I remember looking down at myself lying in this hospital bed, and I was thinking, okay, that's not good. And I looked over the ward that I was in at the time, and I could see all of the other people that were in their beds, and I could see a lot of people around them. Okay, and I remember looking over to the left, and I could see this gentleman walking up the corridor, and he had one of those things that is on wheels, that has the
Yeah.
bags on them.
The IV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
IV
saw
quote.
there was two people each side of him with their hands on his shoulders like that as he was walking along, and they were smiling at him. And the people around the beds were smiling at the people in the beds. And so I don't remember coming inside my body. I just remember consciously opening my eyes, these physical eyes. I went
Yeah.
like that. And all of the people that I'd seen went poof, gone.
Wow.
They just
Yep.
went gone.
Yeah.
They were all gone. And looked at, and I could just see the end of the guy walking along the corridor,
So
and the
many
two
people
were
have
gone.
such different experiences with that. I had my experience with that, and
Mhm.
that's actually why I'm a lot into the paranormal. Is after dying and coming back, you know,
Yeah.
my senses are heightened. I hear things, I see things, all the stuff. But when I was dying, I was actually all of a sudden I was on a soap. I broke my collarbone, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I'd taken all these pills because it hurt so bad. You can't set it, you can't do anything. And it was like a hellacious day to begin with, you know. And then I wanted to take a shower, and my water turned frigid cold, and it
Oh.
made me start shivering, which shook it more. So what did I do? I took more pills, and then I just put a towel on me and said, "I just don't touch me. I want to get to my couch. Just leave me alone."
Yeah.
Right. So as my kids are young, I was married to my first husband at the time, and I'm just like, don't touch me, And I went and I laid down, and next thing I know, I'm in my mom's house. I'm in the hallway at my mom's house, and I'm like looking around, right? I'm not saying anything. I'm just kind of like looking, going, why am I here? And all these thoughts are in my head, and I'm just like, why am I here? Why am I here? What am I doing here? And then I would move, but I'm not walking. I'm like floating, right? And I'd move
Right. Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit, okay? And I'm like, huh, okay. And like now in my parents' hallway, there was a door here with my brother's bedroom, the bathroom, a cellar stairs, our room, and my parents' room was straight ahead. I kept thinking to myself, I need to go get to my mom's. I need to wake up. I'm thinking my mom's on the other side and she's sleeping and I have to wake her up. That's what I'm thinking in my head, right? And I'm like, oh, I gotta wake my mom up. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden I would jump forward. Every time I jump forward and I get past the door, I just kept saying, why and why? I just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
It wasn't registering. And then all of a sudden things from my bedroom as a child are floating by me.
Mm.
And I'm going, what the hell is, you know? And I'm trying to grab them and I can't. And then again, I go forward and I'm going like in these jerks forward. And now I can grab the things. Now I haven't even tried to speak yet, right?
All right. Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
the things and I'm trying to throw them at my mom's bedroom door to wake her up, right? I'm throwing the things and they're disappearing before they're hitting the door. I'm getting pissed now. I'm like,
Unsettled.
all right, what? Angry. I'm getting angry at this point. I'm like, what is going on? I don't understand this. And then I move forward, and now I can really grab the things. I'm throwing them. They're hitting the door,
Yeah.
but nothing's happened. And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm dying. And then I move forward again. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And I'm trying to yell and nothing's coming out. Now I'm
Yeah.
getting really scared, and panicky. And then I'm trying to yell, I don't want to die. And
Mm.
all of a sudden I yelled it. I don't want to die. Finally came out. It came out. And then I slammed back into my body on
Wow.
the couch. And so I slammed back in, which again, wrecked this again,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I'm covered with sweat head to toe, and then I've never been the same ever since. I threw the pills away. I suffered through the rest of that. There's no more pills, and I haven't taken pain pills actually since that time.
Well, my second NDE was an absolutely completely different. Oh my god! I mean, black and white. The second NDE was I was walking along this beautiful fields, and I was walking up to what looked to me from the outside. It looked to me like a castle. Okay, and it had a gothic shaped door like that, and I opened the gate and I went in, and my mom was there.
Oh,
And but here's the weird thing, right? She looked at me and she went like like that, and I said, "Hey," and I was like, "Mom, oh my god, mom!" And she just took me, but she put her hand in my arm like that, and she ushered me, walk, come this way. So I'm looking at her going, "Mom," and she wouldn't talk to me. She wouldn't speak to me. So we're walking up this corridor, like this kind of beautiful stone corridor, and the right hand side was all open. It was like there was no windows; it was just all open. There was pillars, but it was all open.
whoa.
And the floor was all like beautiful big slate slabs, but
Mhm.
all different shapes and that. So I was walking along, and I could see all these children just over to the left, and they're all playing, and they were so happy, and it was like a children's playground at break time, and they were having a ball, and I could see these two people, and there was a man and there was a woman, and they were all playing with them. It was all giggles. Anyway, and I was trying to look, and my mom was just tugging me along, and we walked a little bit further, and there was this gentleman standing there, and he sort of had like a hood on it, but he had long long, I don't know, wavy like stuff you would see back in the days of Jerusalem, them kind of clothes.
Yep.
And my mom said, "This is him. This is the one I told you about." And he looked at me, and again, very gently just smiled at me. He said, "Come with me," like that. And I stepped up, and he walked me around, and these two big, beautiful, which looked like cathedral doors, opened like that, and we walked through. And the next thing I know, I'm coming back through them again. And he looked over and he said to me, "You'll be allowed to remember when you need it," like
Oh,
that. And he said, "Oh, and by the way, the world will be fine," like that. And I went, "Okay." So at this time, I'm desperately trying to remember what I've just seen. I don't know what I've seen, but he said, "You'll be allowed to remember when you need it," like
I
that.
love that.
And I walked back to where my mom had been waiting, and this time she was all, "Oh my god, my son," and she's up tugging me like this, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you." And I was like, "What the hell is going on here?"
I know,
You
isn't it?
know.
It's like this.
So
I don't get it.
we're walking back down this corridor, and this time, so obviously this alcove with all the kids is on my right. It's on obviously the opposite side. And I looked over and I saw the two adults, and I looked and I was going, I know who they are. I'm looking like trying to get a good grip about who these people are. And and my mom just looked at me and she says, "They are who you think they are." And I saw Jesus and Mary playing with the children,
Oh, I love it.
and they were just playing it. And Mary just kind of glanced over at me, smiled like that. Jesus didn't. He didn't. He was like, medium. Anyway, so I'm only kidding. He didn't. He was playing with all the kids, and she walked me to the end, and she said, "I need you to know that everything you're doing is good, and I'm very, very proud of you." And she walked me back to the gate, and she goes, "Don't worry, we'll see each other again soon." And that was it. And I left, and that was a. I mean, you think of the first one, but I forgot to tell you guys the end of the first one. Um, well, I was very, very sick. And I had cancer at that time, and they had told my family I had 3 weeks.
Oh gosh.
Mm.
4 days after
That's why
that
you didn't want
episode,
to come back.
well, 4 days after that episode, I walked out the front door of the hospital.
Hmm.
So I remember the doctor saying to me, he said,
Miracle.
"I need you to know," he said, he said, your temperature's dropped." And I said, "Okay." He said, "We were getting ready to put you in an ice bath." I said, "You would have needed a doctor then." You know? But so the second one, you know, I often wonder what it was that they showed me to say, "You'll be allowed to remember it as you need it." I don't know whether I've already imparted this information, or, but I remember the last thing he said to me was, "Don't worry, the world will be fine."
Mm,
So,
mm.
and that was an NDA as well.
I like that. I like that. I like that. We learn a lot from these different
Mm,
experiences and stuff. And I often wonder too. It's like, what if I hung in there and if I went through that door? You know
yeah.
what I mean? Then what? Would that have been the end, or would I have been able to come back? I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's always a question in
There
my.
is another way of looking at it, Gina, is where they teaching us not to worry about when our time comes.
Yeah, well,
When our
I'm
time
definitely
comes,
not worried. I just
you know.
just knowing what I know, listening to everyone's stories, listening to like your stories,
Mm,
and E's and everything else too, and the beautiful things that have been seen, the beautiful
mm,
colors, the really vibrant, crazy colors and things that some people see and everything, and just knowing from the paranormal, talking to spirits, I have no fear whatsoever about
mm.
being on the other side when my time comes. I'm fine with it. I don't want
As long as we're together, we're gonna party.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
not in a hurry to get there. I'm not.
go.
I want to stay here as long as. In fact, what I'm looking forward to now
Yeah.
is the being a granddad. I'm looking forward to that. I
Yeah.
can't.
It's a
I can't wait.
blast.
I
It's a
can't
blast. I'm a
wait.
grandma twice.
My grandson just got a mullet yesterday.
Oh, come on.
Like, you gave him a mullet? Are you kidding me?
Redneck.
Straight on the sides, all still full and everything around. I'm like, he got a mullet. She's
I
like,
tell you
I
what, the
need to
good
see
the
pictures
good
of this.
hairstyles never die.
oh, like, oh God.
That was a
Oh,
big '80s thing. That was the mullet was
it
the '80s.
was, and I guess apparently it is coming back. I'm like,
Yeah,
seriously?
Well, I really
Just
hate to
dirt
be in it,
lips.
we're at
but
the end
it's
of the show.
2019. We're 20
Oh,
minutes past.
we're 20 minutes over. It's like what, like 4 a.m.
It's 3:20 here in the
Hey,
He's
morning.
getting
boy.
up in a couple of hours.
He's
Oh,
not.
He's like,
he's gonna
your
he's
roosters
gonna
are
take a
gonna start
sleeping pill,
growing.
and he's gonna go and take a sleeping pill, and anybody who tries to wake me, good luck.
Yeah, I know. I have so many things that we could go on and on. We could have a whole
I
show
will.
just on that.
I've had an absolute ball, and I would be honored to come back. And you guys both ought to start coming and saying hi on my show too. I'd love for you guys to come on. So,
Absolutely.
you know,
Anytime. You send
I
out the
just need
invite.
to be reminded about it because I like that.
well, you see, Gina actually puts herself out and actually puts her head in through the door and says, "Hi, Paul."
I
Yeah.
Just
do
so you
sometimes,
know.
but I don't. Okay, next time I go in, I'm gonna get Leo.
I'll
Shout out
yell.
to Darby because
I'll
she's in the
yell
house.
at you next time I go. I poke my head in and say, "Mama, I'm going."
Yeah.
Come
Well,
on.
the thing
Okay.
about it is, it's like I would love for to bring you on, especially on Spirit Quest, so we can talk about your experiences in ghost hunting,
Yeah.
and being
Mm.
on, and Mama, we could bring you on and talk about your whole concept with the cards and your angelic connection. So there is two fantastic shows in their own right to be talked and discussed there. So I'd love for you guys to come on and be my guests.
Oh, I would
Do I
be. I
have to
would
be
be
nice?
honored for that.
Do you
Honestly,
have to be nice? Yeah.
Shit.
no swearing. I won't swear
I'll be
on your
nice.
show.
I'll be
They'll be
nice to your
suffering.
people in your chat room, but I can't promise I won't pick on you. Dude,
Well,
if I if I didn't pick on you,
you have for the last 20 years. It's not going to stop now, is it? So,
oh my god,
Lynn says that she got matches
why can't you
in her
be
eyes.
gay?
oh, God. I
Well,
just
listen,
like
thank you,
you
man.
guys live in the United States and Canada, and I'm the tanned out of the three of us that looks the tannedest. I was just looking at that.
Yeah,
Thinking,
but oh, it's like I
you're
go
kind
this
of
red and then back to
you're,
white again.
well.
So,
That's the Celt in you, and
yeah.
one of my heroes who now lives in Florida, by the way, Billy Conley. He says to me, "I'm a kind of a blue color. It takes me a week of sunbathing just to get white."
There you go.
Well, I was out just a little bit in the sun today because it was like it's really hot here today. It was 85, 87, something like that. Really hot today.
Wow.
And I had to walk around the yard I had a contractor come over about my yard. And I'm like, I could feel the sun frying my face because I'm like always in here working. I'm always either
Thank
on
you.
the computer
Thank
doing,
you.
making
The
buying.
closest we got to your temperatures was 5. That was it.
I don't know. I was
It's
ours was warm
freezing here.
today, but my feet still went no socks. My feet and I went yes socks.
So,
Oh, I
Freaking
hate
cold.
things on my
um,
feet. I'm barefoot right now. I hate shoes. I hate anything on my feet. Don't like it.
Oh, I've
well,
had to
actually, the
I've
healthier
had to
you are.
crank up the heat in my room. So
Well, they said my daughter's got me into Wim Hof. Do you ever watch him?
No.
They call him the Iceman, and he runs about just in a pair of shorts in literally the Arctic Circle. And
Well, yeah, I'm finished. I'm finished. The
well,
pool.
he's proven that. Well, he was part of a scientific team to prove that cold weather endurance actually cures a lot of illnesses, especially mental related illnesses, and it's cured a lot of that. So this you see these guys when they put on like a pair of shorts and they break through the ice and they go
Yeah,
into the water,
yeah. The polar
they
bears. Yep.
they all
Mm.
talk about euphoria, all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well, that is an adrenaline rush. That would be that would send you
See,
right.
Sharon recognized him. Like, oh my god, what he does! Yeah, it's
What's
actually
his name?
impressive to watch. Wim Hof. Just type in Google the Iceman, and you'll see him. He looks like a the missing link between us and the Yeti.
Oh,
But he's a lovely guy. He knows what he's talking about. He speaks like this. He speaks like a Viking, you know.
ah,
But he
Okay.
runs about
I'm
barefoot on ice, literally.
Gina,
In
maybe we can
snow.
get him on the show.
Yeah, actually, do you know what? What you would learn from that guy would be amazing. Oh, amazing.
you never know until you try. You just have
Yeah.
to ask. They can say no, or they can say yeah. Because again, they're not anybody until they're on the Fox Den, right, Mom?
Well,
Damn
hey,
straight.
now I know I've peaked
You've made it.
the top
Now
of
you know
my
you've made it. There you go.
my broadcasting career has peaked. I
It's
was
you,
on, you know, when I'm talking to
you're at the
these
pinnacle.
movie producers tomorrow, and they'll be sort of, hey, Paul, listen, hey, have you been on Fox Den? They go, no. So, well, you're not my new movie. You're not going to be producing like my movies. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Actually, one of the guys, Russ, and he's produced some really big movies, and he speaks like, you know, hey, how you doing? How you doing? He said,
Oh my
Paul,
God, Jersey.
hey.
Yeah,
I love talking to him.
I know a lot.
love
I know
talking
a
to him.
lot of those paisans. Some of them are my
Hey, how
family.
you doing?
Yeah,
It's like,
I'm
you
a
know,
finished,
Joey from
I'm a
Friends.
finished wop, right? Because I look like the Finnish,
Oh,
but,
yeah.
but the rest of them are all Italians, and a lot of them
I
talk
love,
like
I love that accent. Love it.
that.
Guys,
But it is good.
I've taken
Yes,
up
we
too
have
much
to
of
let
your
you go.
time.
Well,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen in the chat, thank you very much for being here, Paul. It was amazing to catch up again. You are always welcome back when we're short on a guest because they
Yeah.
backed out at the last minute. Maybe Jane will reach out and we'll see if you're not too sleepy.
So that's so basically, I'm just a backup guest. I'm not an A-lister.
Well, because
Oh,
she's. Do you
well,
want to book in with her?
I could-
You're
I
like
could-
at what?
book you in
Next-
December.
Yeah, she's already in
Let's book it.
December.
Well, I tell you what, I would be more than honored to come and talk to you guys. And if you do get dropped in, give me a call. I mean, if I'm free,
Yeah.
I'll come on your show. That makes no doubts.
And I will do my very best to come into your shows so you can go, she finally made it there.
Finally made it. You know, we'll keep each other, going and telling, what's happening, anything new you want me to say on my shows, I'll happily share, and vice versa, especially when we get these bloody dates sorted out for the United States. Because what I said, Darlene, was I said to the team that although the first part of the tour is going to start in New York, it's going to start in New York, but it's going to end in Florida. So I said, but when I come to New York and we do whatever many dates, 1 or 2 or 3 dates, whatever in New York, I want to do a Friday and a Saturday in Canada.
Woohoo,
So
Montreal.
while I'm up there, so I want to kind of come
And
in,
you'll probably go to
pop
Toronto.
up, do 2 or 3 days in Canada, then start the tour down.
Oh, so you're gonna be in
Well,
upstate.
let me know because
New York
it more than likely won't be in my province because my province have to be in French.
Well, if I'm coming all the way to damn Canada, you better get your ass out of your province.
I will freaking go back there and be like,
That's right.
I can travel. Don't need a passport to travel in Canada.
New
Well,
York's
hopefully Roger is going to do some work with me on this tour as well. And
there we go.
And what we could do is we could get Mama to do a special guest appearance on stage. Maybe that.
Oh God, you guys would have. I had no.
And the funny thing would be standing up there watching her trying not to curse. That'd be the funny bit. So
I'm not the one who curses. She is.
and
I
that's
have
why I
built
trust her.
3 castles. I have built. 3
Look at that
castles.
face. Says, love the discussion tonight. It caused Roger and I to have a couple of sidebar discussions. Me, an old Protestant, he's an old Catholic. Well, you see, you Protestants have no idea. But
My dad was.
so what is a Protestant? A Protestant is a
Protesting
protesting Catholic. So you're a Catholic basically. And just when Henry VIII said, I want to get divorced, and the Pope said, not a chance. He went, well, I'll start my own religion then. And that's where that came up. So you protest, me doth protest as I don't want. Listen, you got an option, Pope. Either we get divorced or I cut our head off. Which you want to go? Let's go in. So that's where that came in. But
Oh Lord!
anyway.
That's another whole show.
Oh,
This
All
was
right.
fun.
Listen,
All right.
I'm going to say buonanotte. to every-
buenas noches. Buenas noches.
Yes, and buenas noches.
Bienvenue.
Yes. Yep.
Mm.
Salud.
All right, as we say in Ireland, see you later.
See you later. We'll see y'all next week. Behave yourselves now.
Yeah, next week we
Myself.
got Carrie
That's not
Hummingbird
funny.
on.
Come on.
She's got
Yes,
a
Carrie.
book coming out on Earth Day, which is going to be really cool. So
Yes.
we got that timing down good this time.
Make it happen,
we're
Cap.
up for the book. But we will have Paul again, and we'll be talking real soon. Hang with us just for a brief minute here, there, Paul.
Everybody's welcome to my show Monday night as well. So
Right.
I put links in the chat room. If you can't find them, just look up Paul Francis on Facebook.
You'll find him. You'll
Yeah.
find him.
Or
And
bug me.
watch out for the people that are trying to pretend to be him, because
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We never said that. There is some idiot out there who has kind of copied my whatever.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
let me find him.
And they're trying to say
profile
it's me.
and reaching out for saying, "Hey, connect with me for a reading."
I
Paul
don't
will
do that.
All right.
I don't go looking tighting for
Oh.
business.
I'll reach out to him.
Oh, you reach out to him, right in his
You think
neck.
you think I give you a hard time? Just imagine what I do to them.
It's a big one. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Always remember, and one other thing which I find out as well, guys, when you're buying my books will always have my picture on them. Okay, some other guy was trying to palm off as Paul Francis, and it's not me. But when you're buying my books have my pictures on them, so that's how you know it'll be me.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Very
one
cool.
right there. I have that one. It has an angel, but there's a lot of pictures of him in it.
Yeah, me, Angel.
And here's Reach Across. All right. And
I know those
There it
faces.
goes.
watch out for that logo. That logo is going to get real famous real quick.
Damn straight.
So, all right. Again, bonne notte to everybody. We'll see y'all
ladies.
next week. Paul, hang here for a minute. And
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D. We are here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you a variety of guests. We stream live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, as well as all our Anchor FM venues. We hope you enjoyed our show, our guest, and our featured Crystal of the Week segment with Athena Bari, and we would also appreciate it and love it if you would go to our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, subscribe, like, and definitely hit that notification button to never miss a show. We'll see you all next week, and subscribers, watch for our pop-up shows as well.